The Coors College Grandstand has been brought to you by Coors, a beer with a difference worth tasting. A little less heavy, never bitter, but with all the spirit of a great beer. Coors is the one.
Next, Florida battles Alabama on SEC football. Then the Cartwrights play Cupid for a ranch hand on Bonanza. Coming up on the Superstation.
Tonight.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports.
Questions like this one have haunted Bill Curry since he was named Alabama's head coach in January. But right now, the Crimson Tide seem to have all the answers. Last week, they ended the nation's longest winning streak, defeating national champion Penn State 24-13. Tailback Bobby Humphrey emerged as a contender for the Heisman Trophy, blasting through the Nittany Lion defense for 220 yards. When we last left Kerwin Bell, he had fallen from Heisman hopeful to hurricane victim, suffering from a separated shoulder and the painful memories of a 31-4 loss to Miami. But last week, the Gators blew away the Tulsa Hurricane 52-0. Is the Florida offense flying again, or will they encounter a crimson case of the Birmingham Blues? You're looking live at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, awaiting a game that could be dubbed the Answer Bowl. Both teams can point to positive performances a week ago, but the true test comes today as 13th-ranked Alabama takes on the Florida Gators. This is Bob Neal along with Tim Foley at Legion Field in Birmingham, and everybody's talking about two players in this game specifically. Kerwin Bell for Florida, Bobby Humphrey for Alabama. Kerwin Bell, a Heisman hopeful who was off to kind of a shaky start, frankly. But Bobby Humphrey popped onto the national charts last week with his great 220-yard performance against Penn State. And they're two players we'll be talking about a lot today.
No question about it. And Kerwin Bell, over the last 3 years, has proved himself to be one of the most effective passers in the country. Unfortunately, he finds himself in his senior year, a critical year when it comes to Heisman, with a group of inexperienced wide receivers, and that's created a real problem for him.
Bobby Humphrey, who does he remind you of?
You know, he looks to me like, and, you know, you have to have a better memory when you're talking to somebody that's almost 40, but he looks to me like O.J. Simpson. He's not real big, not real powerful, but you rarely see anybody getting a clean shot at him. Great vision and good quickness.
It's the conference opener for both teams. We'll be back to talk about the specific matchups in just a moment, but right now, back to our studio for the Insiders Report.
Thank you, Bob. Inside information both on and off the field. We have news that Jimmy Johnson, the football coach at Miami, and Sam Jankovich, the school's athletic director, will both leave the school before the next football season. Johnson has his sights on a head coaching position in the NFL. He was a serious candidate for both the Texas and USC openings, but elected to stay at Miami in anticipation of an offer from the NFL. Jankovich, who has helped revive the school's football and basketball programs and has been one of the country's top fundraising athletic directors, is growing tired of the efforts he has put out to bolster the athletic program. The Miami Herald reports he wants to return to his former home in the Pacific Northwest. There's a controversy brewing again at Arizona State over football. Senior linebacker Stacey Harvey, a 3-year starter for the Sun Devils, had been declared academically ineligible by the School of Business. He had fallen short of his spring credits, and the summer correspondence course did not meet the school's requirements. However, the president of Arizona State, J. Russell Nelson, overruled the College of Business. He reinstated Harvey to the football team. Arizona State's faculty representative, Mary Ann Jennings, immediately resigned and accused the president of circumventing the school's rules to favor the football team. There's been no mention of Coach John Cooper in the controversy. Scores and highlights at halftime. Bob Neal and Tim Foley up next with Florida and Alabama.
The Old Milwaukee Insider Report has been brought to you by Old Milwaukee Beer and Old Milwaukee Light, two of America's great tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this. CBS Sports presentation of SEC football is brought to you by Delta Airlines. serving more than 150 cities worldwide. Delta gets you there with care. And by Valvoline High Performance Motor Oil. Valvoline, because motor oil is not just motor oil. And by Holiday Inn. If you're a winner, we're on your way.
Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama. On the side of Legion Field, it says, "Welcome to the football capital of the South." Well, it's the first time in 56 years since Florida has been welcomed here, and they're only welcomed by a few of the contingent of Florida fans who have come here. The University of Florida and Alabama in their Southeastern Conference opener. The University of Alabama Crimson Tide, Bill Curry and a new coaching staff. Alabama had a lot of people questioning Curry as the head coach. But right now, the questioners have been quieted thanks to the big win over Penn State last week. The Crimson Tide, with a record of 2-0, they've been picked anywhere from 3rd to 7th in the SEC. Bill Curry says it all starts today. Our #1 goal is, as it has been at Alabama all along, to win the Southeastern Conference Championship, and the rest of the season will take care of itself. Today, they've got to beat the Florida Gators. Florida lost big to Miami, crushed Tulsa. Florida is a team suffering from the probation. Only 79 scholarship players instead of 95. Galen Hall likes this team. He says it'll get better as the season goes along. And today's the day that Florida has to start getting better. We talk about Kerwin Bell. It's Kerwin Bell this, Kerwin Bell that. But there must be more to the Florida offense there.
There has to be more to the Florida offense this afternoon. And they've got to have to run the ball against Alabama and look for their little bombshell with the football, Emmitt Smith, to do some damage. They've also got a freshman fullback, Willie McGrady, who will play on both sides of the ball, a true freshman. If Florida's successful this afternoon, a lot of folks will be talking about those two fellas after this game.
I think I joined a lot of people being a little surprised at how good Alabama's defense was against Penn State last week. How good is this defense?
Well, one thing that Ray Perkins did a lot of things well, but one thing he did well was recruit. They've got good talent here at Alabama. And Don Lindsay, as a defensive coordinator, is a magician. He's got them working well together. They're inexperienced, but they're energetic, enthusiastic, and they're well taught.
Alabama offense. Bobby Humphrey left, Bobby Humphrey right, Bobby Humphrey up the middle.
That's what you can expect. A counter punch, Bo Wright, Doug Allen, a little play pass on first down mixed in.
I was surprised that Florida's defense wasn't better. How good are they?
Florida's defense is excellent. They've been put in bad positions by their offense in terms of turnovers, but they've only given up 95 yards rushing the ball this year, and so it's going to be a real head-to-header.
We'll be back with the kickoff right after this. You're watching Southeastern Conference football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Two undefeated powers collide on the gridiron when Auburn battles Tennessee, SEC 87. 12:15 Eastern on the Superstation next week.
In Birmingham last night. Should not be a great effect on the game unless it's a monsoon. It's an artificial surface. Going to be cloudy. Nice temperature to play from a player's point of view. There's the freshman, Philip Doyle. Strong leg, a local young man from Birmingham, Alabama. And he'll be kicking deep to Kerry Watkins, who's number 4, will be standing on the goal line for Florida, ready to return this kickoff. Kerry Watkins has returned 3 kickoffs so far, averaging about 20 yards a return. He's number 4 over on the left side of your screen. Now the officials have the game clock set, and they are ready to begin this. Al Ford is our referee today. It's out of bounds. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. So they'll bring it all the way back and kick it again. Let's take a look at the offense for the University of Florida. Kerwin Bell will be keying things at quarterback. Emmitt Smith, he's the first freshman to start in the backfield for the University of Florida since Tony Green back in 1974. True freshman. Anthony Williams at the fullback spot. Tony Womack, Simmons, Odom. Those receivers have a heavy job to do today. David Williams, their best offensive lineman. Richard Staweski has started over there on the right side because he played so well after that Miami game and replaced Charlie Wright in the starting position. But it's all going to be on the shoulders of Kerwin Bell today, who can make another statement in regards to his candidacy for the Heisman, depending on how he plays today.
And I think that one of the things that Galen Hall is trying to do, Bob, is spread the pressure out a little bit. I think he wants Kerwin to realize that there are other horses hitched to this wagon besides him. So they're going to use Smith, and they're going to try to take some of the heat off Kerwin.
There's a squib kick
It's coming up to number 43. That's Curtis White. He's down. That will belong to Florida. The ball came loose after the tackle at the 37. The stop was made by number 18, Lorenzo Ward. Now let's look at the Alabama defensive unit. This defensive line, some people think they're a small defensive line. Tim will talk about that in just a second. They were very effective against Penn State. As you can see, a young man is down on the field. We'll check that out and report to you about that in a moment. Derek Thomas, the best linebacker, but they're all pretty good. Randy Rockwell and Thomas on the outside, Shepard and Gilbert in the middle, and an inexperienced secondary, particularly Gene Jelks, the former running back, who is playing his first year at the cornerback position.
That's an interesting story. You see Bill Curry run onto the field. We don't have a number of the player that's down. But most defensive backs that you see come over from offense, they're usually quarterbacks at one time or another, or running backs that fumbled the ball. Jelks was a very effective runner, a very good offensive player, and even was projected as an all-SEC player last year in the preseason. But with the emergence of Bobby Humphrey, Curry gave him a choice. You can back up Bobby Humphrey, or we can use you on defense. You can start, line up your first day and start, and that's what he did, and he's just a tremendous athlete and has made the transition rather smoothly. But you can see in his play, and you can see it a little bit last week against Penn State, there's obvious inexperience.
I want to talk a little bit while we wait here to check on the injured player. And again, we're waiting to get a positive identity here before we tell you exactly who it is. There's Bobby Humphrey, number 26. You'll be seeing him a lot. The player who's down is John Casimus, who is a backup rover back and a very good special teams player, a sophomore from Birmingham. And fortunately, looks like that young man is okay. May have had his bell rung. Might have been very groggy there for a second. And that's a big question until they can get him awake and walking. And he looks to be okay. Alabama making its 100th television appearance. First one was back in 1951. And Tim, I want to take just a moment to say something about one of the broadcasters on that team. That was Mel Allen and Lindsey Nelson. Lindsey Nelson is watching today in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Lindsey, you've been an inspiration to a lot of us. And I think back, it was 100 television appearances ago in 51 when Lindsey worked with Mel Allen on that telecast. Now we're ready to start from the line of scrimmage. First down, 10, Florida. Here's Emmitt Smith. Gets past the 40-yard line, a gain of about 3 or 4 from the true freshman Emmitt Smith. Anthony Smith making the stop. Emmitt is a relatively small guy, 5'10", 200 pounds, from Pensacola, Florida.
He was probably the most extensively recruited running back in the nation last year. Was the player of the year by several publications. USA Today had him as the best running back in the country, and he'll show his stuff this afternoon.
Second down 6 from the 41. Gets to show it again. Not much this time, 1 yard. Emmitt Smith is hit by the nose guard, Willie Wyatt. Anthony Smith, Willie Wyatt, Tommy Cole, those up front down linemen. I've been saying some people think they're small for a major college big-time program.
Well, I talked to Bill Curry and asked him if they're small. At Georgia Tech, he had some smaller players than that. Jerry Claiborne at Kentucky would love to have that size. Now, they may be small in comparison to some lines, but they're good size. They've got good strength and quickness, an effective front.
Third down 5 from the 42. Bell, shovel pass, Emmitt Smith. Can he turn the corner? First down, Florida. Imaginative call. Bell dropped. Alabama rush. Shovel pass to Emmitt Smith. He gets around the left side. 27, Kermit Kendrick made the stop.
Here you see it here. It's almost like a draw play. They get a trap inside. They just let Derek Thomas fight upfield. Gilbert can't get there in time, and here comes Kermit Kendrick. Did that very effective last week against Penn State, but he just couldn't get his head in front. Oh, no.
That is Kermit Kendrick, who's being helped off the sideline, the man who made the tackle. And redshirt freshman Mike Smith, number 9, is in there for Alabama now. First down 10, Florida. Emmitt Smith, first down up the middle. Oh, the young freshman running back with great acceleration. Stopped by linebacker Willie Shepard. A 13-yard gain.
Let's watch that Florida. Bob Sims, number 77. Starwinski getting a good block there, and Emmitt Smith pops it. That quickness, acceleration at the hole.
Smith had 10 carries for 109 yards for Galen Hall last week. He has 18 on 3 carries early in this ball game. First and 10 Gators from the 38 of Alabama. Emmitt Smith. Got about 4 that time. Inside the 35 to the 34-yard line, stopped by 98 Wyatt and 96 Willie Shepard.
the media, fans have a question mark in their mind about Florida. After watching the Miami game, you just really had to have a question about their offense. Were they any good at all? They just looked totally disjointed. They couldn't get anything going. Tulsa, not top competition, but a good football team. They scored 52 points. So there's a confidence situation here with this Florida offense.
Now, two true freshmen, 22 Smith, 38 McGrady in the backfield. This is McGrady. He doesn't get much, a yard or two, the fullback. Tommy Cole and Willie Shepard making the stop. Willie McGrady's a 245-pound true freshman from Palatka who also plays nose guard. McGrady's coming out of there now, just one play and out.
Most probably you will see that young man playing nose guard. Jeff Roth is the starter for Florida on defense. Nose, his back has been bothering him, and there is no backup with the exception of Willie.
Third down, 5 Gators. Big conversion situation here from the Alabama 34. Bell, first pass of the day. Good protection. Got a man wide open. He overthrew him by a mile. 82, Walter Odom was open down about the 10-yard line, and Bell missed him.
You see Gilbert coming, Shepard's coming, and I think you're going to see Randy Rockwell running with the tight end. The ball is up, and he does a good job, as you said, Bob, that ball should have been thrown a little bit lower, a little bit too much air there, but I'm sure Rockwell made Bell nervous.
51-yard field goal attempt by McGinney. Can it get there? No! McGinney misses the 51-yarder. Florida's drive stalls when Bell overthrows Odom. 11:43 to go in the first quarter. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Humphreys in the center of things in the backfield for Alabama, but David Smith is the quarterback, a junior from Gadsden. Smith is 20 of 35, has thrown 2 touchdown passes, and maybe more importantly, no interceptions. Danny Cash, a surprise starter at right tackle in place of the 300-pound Joe King. First down, Alabama, their first possession of this ball game. Early in the first quarter from Legion Field in Birmingham. Bobby Humphrey. About 3.5 yards on first down. Jeff Reuter, number 47, the left-sided linebacker making the stop. Reuter's having to play in place of an injured linebacker. Let's look at the Florida defense. I think this is a very solid defensive line. Rondi Weston, Henry Brown, and Jeff Roth, a very good nose guard. Clifford Charlton, excellent pass rusher. And I said Jeff Reuter is playing in place of the injured Jason Lambert, who has bad knees. Jarvis Williams, the leader back there in the secondary. Bo Wright in the backfield with Alabama now to go with Humphrey on second down 7 from the 37. Whitehurst in motion. Humphrey. Kerry Watkins missed him, got back up, and they're going to throw him for a loss. Excellent penetration by Florida.
Good job by Kerry Watkins getting upfield. You know, some cornerbacks aren't quite as big, and they don't really like to get up into the fight. A little shifting going on here. Kerry sees the toss, and they're going to turn that play in right now. They're going to make Humphrey make a decision. They don't want him to stretch that out at all. All it does is create more seams in the defense.
3rd and 13 from the 31. Alabama now. Let's see if Florida pins back their ears and comes after David Smith. Charlton, good block, stopped him. Smith over the middle. It's complete, short of the first down at the 36-yard line. It was complete to Howard Cross, the tight end. Alabama will have to give up the football. Then comes the punter, Chris Moore. Big defensive play by Florida on the second down call with a good penetration by Kerry Watkins. That's a gutsy call, is it not, on that play?
I think that was a read, Bob, by Kerry Watkins. He saw the ball tossed. He's responsible for containment and bang. He got upfield right away, caused something to happen.
Jarvis Williams will be back in the 15 and 20 state with Chris Moore punt. Jarvis falls on it at the 17-yard line. 9:44 to go, quarter number 1, scoreless ball game from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. There are some Gator fans in the crowd here at Legion Field in Birmingham. They occupy a corner of the end zone, as many seats as they could possibly occupy. Florida stalled on their opening drive, reminiscent of the Miami game. Nothing for Emmitt Smith that time, maybe a yard or 2. Tim, on that Miami game, Florida marched downfield, missed the field goal, had a similar thing happen to him.
That's right. You're going to get a watch here at look at Derek Thomas. Now, they're trying to confuse the Florida blocking scheme. They're moving, obviously, their most effective defender, the man that makes big plays for them, had 4 sacks last week against Penn State. Derek Thomas, you're going to move him around. And I'll tell you the philosophy behind that in a minute.
Second down 8 from the 20. Freshman Ernie Mills in, number 14, on the wide receiver spot. Curlin Bell comes over to the near side of the field, goes to his tight end Odom. He's knocked down at the 25-yard line. That's going to be about 3.5 yards short of the first down. The roverback Lee Osment made the stop for Alabama.
The defensive coordinator at Alabama is Don Lindsay. Now, he's been at Southern Cal, and he's been at Arkansas. And he was an offensive coordinator at 24 years old at Washington State. He takes an offensive approach to defense in the sense that he wants to disguise his good players. As an offense will motion a flanker, he does the same thing with Derek Thomas. Tries to hide him, so he gets 3.
3rd and 3 from the 25. Good pressure on Bell. Throws it out. There is no penalty flag. In the Miami game, Bell, under the same kind of situation, unloaded it and got called for intentional grounding. Tommy Cole, 51, with the great pressure.
Obviously a missed assignment. Nobody touched Tommy Cole. Came right on Bell, and we've seen Curlin Bell complete passes like that.
Bad punt from McAndrew. At the 48-yard, it was only a 28-yard punt. It was caught by John Cassimus. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Alabama coach Bill Curry says Bobby Humphrey does it all. He says after getting 220 yards last week against Penn State, he also helped him put his luggage on the bus.
57-yard pass, and he's the type of kid you love to have on your team because he's such a great practice player.
1st and 10 from the 47. Alabama with good field position following the 28-yard punt. That was battle in motion. David Smith. The left-hander completes the pass to the 39-yard line, and it was Marco Battle who made the reception. He's just back into the Alabama lineup after having a sore shoulder, the sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama. And Smith is 1 for 1 for 14 yards.
The Gators are going to have to converge a little quicker on this particular pattern. An unbalanced line, sending it back in the flat, Battle going down about 10 yards, breaking to the outside. Looked like Jarvis Williams got sucked up a little bit on the man in the flat. Created the scene.
First down from the 38 of Florida. Best field position of the day for Alabama. Bobby Humphrey gets a block, gets outside, gets out of bounds at the 36. Mulberry chased him out, number 32. David Smith, he's somewhat of a Mike Shula clone. Would you agree?
I'm not sure what that means. It means that he doesn't have a great arm, not great feet.
That's it. That's
student of the game.
That's it.
And yes, we'll come back to that in a second.
I think that's what I meant.
And a fine field general that wins games.
Oh, there you go. 2nd down 8 from the 36. David Smith. Puts it right into motion. Fullback. Humphrey, the lead block. Good penetration. Humphrey made a miss. To the 21-yard line, you are watching a great running back in Bobby Humphrey. He made a miss and got the yardage on his own.
Get the fullback in motion. Get a mismatch. Nothing home there. Now watch in a second. Watch in a second. There he is, number 13, David Smith. And you mentioned Mike Shula. David Smith is that type of player. He just does everything it takes to win. Got a block on as Humphrey reverses field in his own.
First down 10 Alabama at the 21 of Florida. Screen pass. Humphrey incomplete unless it was parallel. It was not. Incomplete pass. That's dangerous. You happen to swing it back a little bit. He doesn't catch it. You've got a fumble on your hands. But not so that time. Incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down 10.
What Bill Curry is trying to do offensively is get the ball in the hands of Bobby Humphrey, and if he could do it out in a flare, that'd be great. They're going to run the toss from every formation that you can look at. As you see, Rip Shear with the green headphones on, he's the offensive coordinator, and he's calling the plays right there.
2nd down 10 from the 21. Slot right formation on the short side of the field. Whitehurst in motion for Tide. Draw play Humphrey. He is short of the first down. Gets to about the 18, bringing up a 3rd down and long situation for the Crimson Tide. This happened to Florida. They penetrated well. Galen Hall's club drove on their opening drive, and then Bell missed a pass attempt and had to go for the field goal. So this is a mirror kind of play for Alabama.
Galen always looks calm and poised and collected, but you can check his fingernails. He's as nervous as any head coach.
3rd and 7 from the 17. Smith's got to tuck it. Almost intercepted. Oliver just dropped it. Number 18 had it. He'll be sorry about that because Alabama has an opportunity now to put some points on the board. They were looking for Bobby Humphrey, number 26, on this pass pattern.
No question about it. They had Humphrey coming down the middle. You see him right there dragging, but a nice job by the linebacker. Jammed him up, knocked him off stride. Way to go, Pat Moore. And Lewis Oliver, who usually makes that play, has 3 interceptions on the year. Wishes he had that one back.
Doyle for a 36-yard field goal attempt. He sure got all the leg into that. Alabama takes the lead, 3-0 on the 36-yard field goal from freshman Philip Doyle. Alabama takes the lead 3-0 with 6:21 to go in the first quarter. Bobby Humphrey with a beautiful run on that drive. Then the near interception to stop the Alabama drive. Lewis Oliver jumped in front of a pass intended for Humphrey. Doyle hits the 36-yard field goal. Watkins at the 5. Oh, that is for men only. 23-yard line he goes down. John Davis made the hit on Watkins, an 18-yard kickoff return. Back come the Gators. And what about the Gator receivers, Tim Foley? Highly questioned thus far.
Yeah, I was talking to Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator for Florida, about that. How could they get into a situation where they have no experienced wide receivers after Roll and McDonald and Teal? And he just said that this recruiting limit actually deprived them of taking wide receivers. There were things that were more fundamental to their offense that they needed in the last couple of years.
On the first down, only a yard or so. Number 23 is Wayne Williams at tailback, playing in place of the freshman Emmitt Smith on this series. About 2 yards. Willie Wyatt, the nose guard, with a stop for Alabama.
And actually, Bob, when you look at their wide receivers, Florida wide receivers, they're both converted running backs. Lomack.
Stacey Simmons.
Yeah.
On the second down, a play fake. Good pressure. It is complete to Odom out at the 39. He lost a couple of yards, but got the first down. And the pass rush was all over Kerwin Bell, but this time he was able to get it to Walter Odom. Tommy Cole, number 51, the defensive tackle for Alabama, is down on the ground back inside the 10-yard line.
Play pass here. They're running the tight end on about 12 yards square out, trying to stick it in between the linebacker and the safety. Odom makes the catch, and Bell took quite a shot. Tommy Cole is down on the field.
Odom with the reception. He played poorly by his own admission in the first game. You should take a look at Cole. But Odom came back with some big catches against Tulsa last week. And Galen Hall, speaking of the receiving corps, needs Odom to play well.
And he has the speed of tight end to get down the middle, which they need to take the pressure off those inexperienced wide receivers. Tommy Cole had a knee problem in the spring. I think he had surgery in the spring, as a matter of fact. He missed spring practice, and let's hope he didn't aggravate that injury.
We're taking a look at the leg, as a matter of fact, for Tommy Cole. You look at some scores around the country. We'll keep you updated all day long on a very big day for college football. Tommy Cole was talking about this Alabama defensive line prior to this ball game, saying, you know, we have been called 1AA size. He says, and our goal is to prove ourselves despite the fact that we are not the giant defensive lineman. Cole himself is 6'2", 250. Now, in the real world, I think that's big.
Yeah, to me, I'd say, sir, to somebody that big, but yeah, and I think on the graphic it had 209. You know, but he's put on a lot of weight. These guys have worked hard. Rich Wingo is a former Green Bay Packer, former Crimson Tider, and he runs the strength program here and does a great job for Bill Curry.
Now that lineup changes. Number 95, a sophomore from Orlando, Florida, Thomas Rayum comes into the ball game. Graham, replacing Tommy Cole. We'll give you a report on Cole's injury as he's walking off the field, but apparently does have some damage to one of his legs. And we'll get back to your report. Here's the game situation. 5:32 to go, first quarter. Alabama leads 3-0 on a 36-yard Doyle field goal. It's Gators football, 1st and 10 from their own 39 after Kerwin Bell hit Odom. The pass over the middle under tremendous pressure. Those are the stats from last year's Alabama's victory over in Gainesville. Kerwin Bell. There's Williams. Broke one tackle down at the 40. Gain of only a yard and a half for Wayne Williams. He's 5'11", 195 from Titusville. Had been the starter, but frankly, I don't think there are really any big backs who are going to make big plays for Florida except for Emmitt Smith, perhaps McGrady. Do you agree with that, even though they're solid backs?
They're solid backs. They're good performers. Both of them catch the ball very well. In passing situations, you'll probably see both Williamses in the game, Anthony and Wayne.
2nd down 9 from the 40. Bell almost had that one intercepted. It's knocked down, incomplete. They were just all over it. Derek Thomas was right in Bell's face that fast.
Thomas comes around the top and just breezes by the Gator tackle, and Bell tries to get the ball to Emmitt Smith, but that's happened too much to Kerwin Bell. The last half of last year and early on this year, what happens is you begin to expect the pressure. Instead of expecting the protection, you expect to have to get rid of the ball in a hurry.
And he keeps looking at these kind of situations. 3rd down 9 from the 40. A lot of time. Receiver's out there. It's underthrown. It's intercepted. That is Gene Jelks, the speed merchant. If he gets outside, he gets out of bounds at the 32. Gene Jelks picked off the Kerwin Bell toss, returned it 13 yards. Bell was looking deep and did not throw the ball well.
See Willie Snead here. He's running deep. He doesn't want Snead. He's looking in the flat. The man in the flat is well covered, jammed. In his desperation, he throws it deep, doesn't get it deep enough. Great play by Gene Jelks, his 2nd interception on the season. I like it over here on defense.
And Bell has thrown 5 interceptions in 2 games and half of a quarter. Battle in motion for the Crimson Tide. And Florida has another turnover. Bobby Humphrey battling, twisting. Getting about 3 where there was none. Excuse me, that was Doug Allen, number 46, the fullback. You mentioned these fullbacks as being the counterpunch. They're not chopped liver. Doug Allen, Bo Wright.
And a great running back is going to open things up for a fullback, because what they'll do is they'll strike back to the weak side. As they fake the toss to the wide side, they'll just slip it to the fullback. Linebackers will be over pursuing to the great back, and oftentimes you can slide through there unmolested.
2nd down 7 from the 35. They give it to Bo Wright, number 40. The fullback that rotates with Doug Allen. He gets a couple of yards too. And now, after getting nearly 4 on the 1st down, they get about the same on the 2nd down, so they have themselves a 3rd and short. And this is where your offense wants to be.
Exactly. You want to get 4 yards on 1st down. We're going to try to keep track of that for you a little bit, because then you're in a run-pass situation. Offensively, you're dictating the situation, and the defense is kind of in a quandary as to what to defend against, the run of the pass.
3rd down 3 from the 39. Lights are on here at Legion Field. Expecting rain today. It's not raining now. Humphrey needs 3. Falls down. Doesn't get it. Slipped on the turf. Penalty flag is down at the line of scrimmage. First penalty marker. Well, actually, the second one, there was a kickoff that went out of bounds.
Offensively, what Bill Curry is trying to do is create a mismatch, outnumber the Gators. They're lining up in an unbalanced front, and then they're motioning Marco Battle to add another blocker over there.
There are the list of officials from the Southeastern Conference today, the fellows who do such a good job game in and game out.
On the red team, and it's declined. Got 4th down.
Alabama has rushed for only 23 yards so far. This Florida defense playing well.
There you see it as Humphrey tries to get back into that gap where he did so well against Penn State. He goes down on the artificial surface.
Chris Moore into punt again. Jarvis Williams back deep. Moore hit it 49 yards the first time today. Gets another thing. Good hangs on. Fair catch. Jarvis Williams at the 26. 2:35 to go. First quarter, Alabama leading 3-0. We've got ourselves, at least early in this game, a defensive battle going on. 41-yard punt by Moore that time. A lot of people wondered if this would be a big high-scoring game or a defensive game. And Tim, what was your feeling about it in terms of numbers of points scored?
My feeling is there are two very good defensive teams on the field in terms of talent. Two very good defensive coordinators, and I didn't expect a high-scoring game.
First and 10 from the 21. Gators trail 3-0. Emmitt Smith stays on his feet for about 6 yards after looking like he was going down at about the 21. Greg Gilbert, 56, tripped up Emmitt Smith. The Gators schedule, it's ranked the 3rd toughest in the nation. They're the only team in the country that plays 5 top 20 teams on the road.
So I'd say that on the road, they've got the tougher schedule.
Second down 4 for the 27. Emmitt Smith again. Not much there. He's a couple of yards short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short, however. That time on first down, when Emmitt Smith ran the ball, he got about 5 or 6 yards, and that, again, put him in that good situation.
In that situation, see, fans have to get used to things. It's just like back in the early 70s, our fans would complain about boring football because it was on the kick, 4 yards, that type. But that eats up the clock, which is great for the defense. You know, you drink a lot of Gatorade, and it also wears out the opposition.
3rd and 2, Gators. Smith, big hole. Can't get it all the way outside, but he picks up the first down to the 38-yard line. Gene Jelks made the tackle, and Smith has 41 yards on 8 carries in this first quarter.
This time they give him a little room. Good job by Charlie Wright, opening the hole on the left side of the Alabama line. Now, if Womack could have gotten that block, Smith would have been gone. That's those wide receivers have to hustle down there and make contact with defensive back.
Willie McGrady, the fullback. Look at him drive. He weighs 250 pounds. Oh, he's an offensive guard, defensive guard, and a fullback. He doesn't really play offensive guard, but he runs like one.
That's right, and he has fun. That's what they like about him. One of the problems that Galen Hall had was after the Miami game, this cloud of doom descended on their team, and he needed to loosen them up and tell them not to worry about the mistakes. Let's go out there and have fun. Let's go out there and participate. Make some plays.
Now again, 8 yards on first down. They're in that good second down situation. 2nd and 2, Emmitt Smith. First down. Emmitt Smith gets it near the 40-yard line. Another first down. And Emmitt Smith is making his own statement about running backs today. 12 yards on that carry.
Watch it again. Nice job of block. Look at McGrady. What a block by McGrady. Nice job on Thomas Raham, and then it's up to Smith. Todd Richardson wraps him up.
Remember the last time 2 true freshmen played in the backfield for Florida? Is 82. They were John L. Williams and Neil Anderson. Remember how good they were. First and 10 from the 42. Smith. Oh, my. First down to the 30. Emmitt Smith. His 10th carry of this game. He got 12 yards on that one. 65 yards in 10 carries.
One of the things Bill Curry had to be concerned about as you watch Emmitt Smith do it again is he beat a Penn State football team that's highly regarded, but Penn State is down this year, especially on defense. The line of scrimmage was controlled by Alabama, and he was worried about this team emotionally, being able to get up again.
That's the end of the first quarter. Alabama leading 3-0. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Well, Emmitt Smith already has 65 yards in this game, Tim Foley, but the other freshman's making his name known also.
We're going to show you that play again where he blocked on Raham, and Raham weighs 280 pounds. This is Willie McGrady's got a load behind him. That time he walls off Randy Rockwell, and he's just been doing an excellent job clearing the way for the scat back.
They turn it around and go opposite directions now. Beginning of the second quarter, Alabama leading 3-0. Gators ball, 1st and 10, outside the 30-yard line of the Crimson Tide. Emmitt Smith for his 11th carry. Look at the blocking. Look at the running to the 11-yard line. Emmitt Smith 19 yards on that carry, 84 yards and 11 carries.
Now watch McGrady again on this replay. Emmett better take this rascal out to dinner. He's going to get 2 of them here. Watch McGrady right there. He gets the block on Gilbert. Cuts back inside. Now McGrady, he's going to get another one. Gene Jelks.
Galen Hall drools when he talks about Emmitt Smith and Willie McGrady. Now you see why. From the 11, 1st and 10 Gators, trailing 3-0 early in the second quarter. To McGrady. To about the 9, and he goes down, hit by Thomas Rhea, number 95, Alabama's defensive tackle. So that big Florida offensive line, Bill Curry said, this is not just a sizable, this is not just a big offensive line, this is a huge offensive line for Florida.
But they did not look very effective versus Miami. So he's trying to tell his kids how good they are, and they're looking at that film saying, come on, coach, this is Penn State. So it's a tough sell.
Second down, 8 for the first down. From the 9 to go for the touchdown. Bell overthrows his receivers, was intended for Stacy Simmons. He was covered tightly by Gene Jelks. Threw that one high and out of the end zone.
You see Jelks working on Simmons. He tried to draw him out, but Jelks just sits down inside. He's in good position. Now he makes contact here, but the ball is uncatchable, so there is no flag. As a receiver, when you get to the end zone, you just can't hook up and turn. You have to, if you don't feel yourself open, now you have to start to move. You have to start to create distance between you and the defensive back.
Our TBS cameraman almost had an interception down there. Nice shot. Third down, 8 from the 9-yard line. Bill tried to hit Tony Lomack coming across the middle. I think Lomack should have caught that one. It's going to be a field goal opportunity for Florida. A little behind him.
A little behind him, tough catch, but definitely a catchable football. Kerwin had something on it. He had Odom coming to the outside, just trying to hit the quick max in front of the Alabama defender.
Florida has tied this game. It's 3-3 with 13:44 remaining in the second quarter as Robert McGinney, the senior from Neptune Beach, Florida, hits a 26-yard field goal. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Bobby Humphrey and Kerry Good are the twin kickoff return men for Alabama. Humphrey there on the left, Good 35 up on the top. Good's the other tailback. They thought he was going to have a great career here at Alabama, but he's had a couple of leg injuries. It's tied 3-3. Humphrey, look out. To the 23-yard line. Tim Foley before Alabama starts here. Emmitt Smith has been Mr. Everything on that drive. He ran the ball so very well. Alabama gets it down to the, or Florida gets it to the 11 and then stops running.
Well, they stuffed McGrady on first down. Now it's 2nd and 9. So you have to figure you have to put the ball in the air. And what they went to work on was Gene Jelks, the inexperienced cornerback. But it looks as though the timing between Kerwin Bell and the Florida wide receivers is just off. He doesn't look like he's throwing the ball with confidence that they're going to make the break now.
First and 10 from the 23, Alabama. Tie game, 3-3. Early second quarter from Legion Field in Birmingham. Humphrey. Hit hard. Pat Moore, number 45, the inside linebacker. We've been talking about the Florida defensive line of Weston, Roth, and Brown. The linebackers are good, particularly against the run. Galen Hall has been very pleased with the play of Gerald Dickens, number 40.
Dickens has really come on, number 40. He missed last year with a toe injury, but Pat Moore really surprises me. A walk-on from Escambia High School, and came on and started right away at Florida. That's amazing as far as I'm concerned. A true freshman walk-on. And he is kind of pulling it together now in the absence of Scott Armstrong.
Second down 6 from the 27-yard line, Alabama. Bo Wright, the fullback. Pierre Coons goes in motion. Stopped at the 30. He was hit by Pat Moore again, his third tackle. So the defensive game we were talking about is apparently shaping up here. Player down on the field, Alabama player. There's the statistical story of this game at the moment. 12:37 to go in the first half. I will remind you, at halftime, we'll be going back to Craig Sager with complete college football coverage from all the action taking place today in college football.
A little break in the action here. Tommy Limbaugh is the assistant athletic director at Alabama. His dad just had surgery, heart surgery. James Limbaugh, he's in the hospital here. James, they miss you here.
We'll be back in just a moment to Legion Field.
The new Dodge Ram 50. We're going places. The Alabama injured player who's being aided off the field is the center, Mike Zuga, from Noonan, Georgia, the sophomore. He'll be replaced at the moment, we'll check on his injury, by Chris Robinette, who's a redshirt freshman from Enterprise, Alabama. Zuga has been playing well, but Robinette, they think, may be the center of the future for Alabama, and he gets to start his future early. Third down, 3 from the 30. Often a problem with a new center. Quarterback exchange. Pitch to Humphrey. Gets the first down. What acceleration. Lewis Oliver rides him down. Humphrey gets 13. You're just waiting for Bobby Humphrey to explode every time he touches it.
That's exactly right, and that's why the defensive coordinator, his heart starts to beat a little faster. This is not what you want defensively. Good block by Howard Cross on Jarvis Williams, and Watkins has got to turn that in. He cannot take the inside of the blocker. You give Bobby Humphrey the sidelines, and it's get out the handkerchief and wave bye-bye.
Humphrey takes a breather. Kerry Good, senior, number 35 in a tailback now. Smith, plenty of time. Incomplete, intended for Whitehurst. Good coverage by the Florida defense down there, although that could have been caught and gone as Whitehurst had gotten in behind them.
See Bill Curry on the sideline. Blonde rascal whispering in his ear is his son Billy.
By the way, I saw Dr. Carolyn.
Dr. Carolyn, right.
Bill's lovely wife just got her PhD.
She's too good looking to be a doctor. Or is that a sexist statement? Can we get letters on that?
You're getting a letter, and that was Tim Foley, F-O-L-E-Y. I'll give him an address and your zip code in a moment. Mike Zuga dislocated his elbow. Probably won't be back. Kerry Good with the carry. Got about 10 yards, close to the first down marker and out of bounds. You hear them. As Ernie Johnson likes to say on Atlanta Braves broadcasting, they're not booing, folks. They're saying boo.
And it's interesting, when Kerry Good was setting freshman records as an Alabama running back, Bobby Humphrey was selling Coca-Cola in this stands not far from the stadium he was raised, and really Kerry Good was one of his childhood heroes.
On the first and 10, David Smith on a nice decision with the option. David decided to keep it, turn it upfield, and he gets to the 40. Jarvis Williams with the stop. So now Alabama moving the ball offensively.
We talked about first downs and how important they were, and 4 yards is a plus on first down, and you can see that Alabama's mixing it up a little bit, but they're relying mostly on the run, and their first down productivity has been off in their last 4 or 5 possessions.
This time on first down, they got 7, so Alabama's in that place they like to be. This is a dangerous spot for a touchdown pass should they decide to throw it to 40. He gives it to Good. Big hit by number 40, Gerald Dickens. Pat Moore came in there to clean up. No penalty marker. Curry may be wondering why.
Bill Curry, a great player in the NFL, a center, all-pro center. Snap the ball up to Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas, Earl Morrow. And
he's a nice guy, but Bill can get intense.
Right under that calm facade, he erupts occasionally, and I think that young players need to see that. If they see you, I don't know if a Tom Landry approach to football would work on a college sideline. You've got to ignite your young people. It's an emotional game.
Shula ignited you a time or two. Is that the word, ignited you? Set you on fire? On 32, Humphrey! Oh, he popped open in a tiny seam to the 27-yard line. Hauled down by Jarvis Williams, a gain of 12. Bobby Humphrey. He'd been in the stand selling Coca-Colas, came back in.
Billy Popsnood. Good job of blocking by Larry Rhodes. Billy Condon, nice trap block. And there goes Humphrey. That's all you need. In short yardage, a crack, and you can be gone.
Helps the coach with his baggage, sells popcorn and soft drinks in the stands, gains a couple of 100 yards. You call that a complete play. First and 10 from the 28. Tie game, 3-3. 10:06 to go. Second quarter. Smith, good time to throw. Now flushed out of the pockets and down. He couldn't find anybody. Excellent defensive coverage by the secondary of Florida. Loss of about 4. Rondi Weston wrapped him up, number 68 for Florida.
It's one of their favorite change-up patterns. They drag the tight end Howard across, shallow across the coverage.
Smith had plenty of time. Just couldn't find his receivers. 9:38 to go in the first half. Now, talk about first down success. That time a loss at second and 14. Humphrey in motion. Charlton with the rush. Good block, though. They're going to get Smith. The man who came up to get him was 96 Roth. He was flushed a bit by Charlton from the outside, and Jeff Roth right up the middle to sack Smith.
Florida's lucky that this wasn't a run. They were outmanned on the left side of your screen, trying to get it to Howard Cross. He got jammed as he tried to escape the line of scrimmage, and it just didn't happen. David Smith, who had a couple of excellent scrambles against Penn State, just couldn't escape the grasp of Jeff Roth.
Roth has a lower back that can hurt him sometimes. Sometimes he's playing in pain, but he's a good one. 3rd and 19 from 37. Smith. It was intended for 6. Greg Payne. Hard hit by Oliver down there. Payne had to pay the price for that. Incomplete. Philip Doyle coming in to attempt a field goal. Let's see, this is at the 37, 47. This will be a 54-yard field goal attempt.
Didn't Phil Curry said they ended practice the other day with him knocking through a 58-yarder? He's got the leg for it.
They have 2 very good freshmen. Philip Doyle is a true freshman. Another one, redshirt Alan Ward, can kick well, too, replacing Van Tippett.
Drop the snap.
Dropped the ball. It booted out of bounds. The holder with the ball was Larry Abney, a backup quarterback senior. When he couldn't handle it, he tried to run out of bounds. It did get out of bounds, but that's going to be good field position at the 48-yard line for the Gators.
See it again here. One of the problems of artificial turf, Bob, is as the ball gets wet, it gets that kind of slimy stuff on it that doesn't come from...
That looks slimy.
From God's green grass, and nice job of just knocking that thing out of bounds.
Big play here. You could almost call that a turnover. It won't be listed as such, but it gives Florida the ball at the 48-yard line. Smith, only a couple that time. Alabama's figured out his number. Willie Wyatt wrapped him up. Emmitt Smith now, that's his 12th carry on the day. Prior to this, Smith had only 10. And one of the questions about the young man, Tim, is how many carries can this 18-year-old tolerate during the day? 30?
Obviously, his body's going to get more mature in a couple of years, but I think there's one way to find out, Bob.
We may be seeing it today. Here's carry 13. No problem so far. Fumble! Alabama ball! At the 43-yard line, Kermit Kendrick fell on it. There's the turnover ghost that hangs over these Florida Gators. They have a -3 in the giveaway takeaway category.
Sprint draw, which is working well for him. Nice job of blocking up front, creates the gap. Mangum knocks it out. And that's going to happen. Watch John Mangum get his head on the ball. And there he is, Mr. Opportunistic person that he is, Kermit Kendrick. And look, don't look that one up.
First down 10 from the 43 Alabama. Here comes Humphrey. About 3 or 4 yards.
If you remember when we did the Miami-Florida game, Florida turned the ball over 3 times early in the 3rd quarter of that game, but the Florida defense came in and held the Miami offense, and that's what a good defense is going to do for you. You're going to have muffs, you're going to have mistakes on offense, but that time the Alabama defense came up and took the ball right back and turned the momentum right around.
Well, they won the war on the first down, allowing only 3 yards. Second down, 7. They should call that the battle. First down. At the 46-yard line. Emmitt Smith. Shows very good quickness as Smith runs for the first down to the 42-yard line. 11-yard carry was tackled by 70, Glenn Neely.
And they're going to, this is a takeover story. Florida, one fumble. And that came early in the Penn State game. He's done a nice job hanging on to the football, but
Illegal procedure against the offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
I think it's apparent to everyone. I know it's apparent to Bill Curry and Rip Shearer by now, but they're going to let David Smith carry the ball. When they run the option, Bobby Humphrey's not going to touch it. They're going to take him away, and actually, David Uralian is saying, if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me with David Smith running. And they don't think they can do that.
They mark the ball back. It will be placed at the 41-yard line. Humphrey, 11 carries for 50 yards today.
Here are the Florida coaches in the booth. Hard to see through the screen. Those rascals are.
They're the guys in the orange jerseys. Speaking of the guys in the orange jerseys, with a headset on, Florida Athletic Director Bill Arnspark. Actually, we're kidding. Said he would like to have a headset on. But athletic directors don't do that. Second and 12, Humphrey. Big tackle by Louis Oliver. You could see Humphrey about to slide it outside and turn on the afterburners. The 5th tackle in this ball game for Florida's fine free safety.
This is just skill running. That's all it is. You see a nice job by Bo Wright. Now Louis Oliver, wrap him up. Good job. Don't try to knock his chin strap off. Wrap him up, get him on the ground.
He's, in my opinion, becoming the star defensive back for Florida, not Jarvis Williams. Not to put Jarvis Williams down, but Oliver has been playing very well.
And he's in that situation to make the play.
3rd and 6 from the 47. Pressure on Smith. They're all over and back at the 35-yard line. 56 is Clifford Charlton. 47, Jeff Reuter. Big defensive play. The 3rd Florida sack. And Tim, you called it. You said, will the Florida defense rise to the occasion after the turnover?
And they certainly have, once again. Charlton, all SEC players there. Reuter's there. And Florida has only allowed 1 touchdown pass in, I think, the last 35 quarters. So they've got very effective passes.
Jarvis Williams. The ball will go dead at the 15-yard line. It's tied at 3. A beautiful football game. Birmingham, Alabama. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. This activity happened prior to the ball game in front of the stadium here at Legion Field, the unveiling of the memorial to the Bears. Listened to a radio talk show last night, Tim, and you hear the Alabama folks talking about Bear Bryant, and you realize when you're here in the state of Alabama what a revered figure that man was. I guess I've always known it, but you realize it when you're here in the state. Florida, 1st and 10 from the 15. Emmitt Smith in the backfield. Penalty markers down. That brings the Alabama crowd to their feet. 89, Philip Brown led the way. Senior from Birmingham.
As time goes on, I think that you'll understand more and more why Bear Bryant was so revered. How many of his players went on to become fine coaches, and what a program, what a tradition he helped to establish at the school that's won more football games in the last 65 years than anybody else in the country.
Offense that's declined, second down.
Al Ford, the referee with the call.
Let's see if we can see it. Watch the center number 63, Tracy Daniel. And get your arm around him like that, Tracy. If they see you, they'll throw the flag. Emmitt Smith tried to duck inside and then pop it outside. Good job by Philip Brown there.
So Florida really in the hole now. 2nd down, 15 from the Gator 10. It's tied at 3. 4:55 to go in the 2nd quarter. Complete to number 20, Tony Lomack. Out to the 19-yard line. Kendrick with the tackle. And Bell now 4 of 10 for 36 yards and 1 interception. And that's the first reception for a receiver on the Florida team. You can see it's been all Emmitt Smith. Odom has caught the ball, but the wide receivers have not caught one until then. 3rd and 5 from the 20. Complete to Stacy Simmons for the 1st down. under tremendous pressure. Kerwin Bell taking a punishment, taking a beating virtually every time he plays. This time the beating was administered by 98 Willie Wyatt. Big plays by Florida. They were really in the hole there.
What Heimerdinger says is he wants to get the ball to his wide receivers in a situation where they can run because they've got great after-the-catch ability.
Out to the 36-yard line comes Emmitt Smith. That 8-yard gain didn't look like much.
It's tough. We got to give Florida some kind of reward. It's tough to coach their, quote their coaches. You figure offensive coordinator is Mike Heimerdinger. That takes a while to say, and they're getting better on defense. Zaven Uralian.
This is easy. Bill Curry.
Bill Curry, that's easy. Think he's got any intensity?
Always looks like a jet fighter pilot to me. Top gun. Second down to the 36. Smith gets the first down. Near the 40-yard line. Vantrese Davis with the stop. Sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama. And Emmitt Smith has just gone over the 100-yard mark. 16 carries. Emmitt Smith has 100 with 3:37 to go in the second quarter. At 109 last week in 10 carries versus Tulsa. Neil Anderson really making his name with the Chicago Bears now. The freshmen are in, Smith and McGrady, on a first down 10. Smith. Number 47, Vantrese Davis, the linebacker for Alabama, had shot back there, was in the backfield to make the play, but Smith skidded away.
What Lindsey tries to do for Alabama, create an unblocked man, cause some confusion. They'll give you an even front, an odd front, trying to confuse those offensive linemen, mess up their scheme of blocking. Emmitt Smith's going to be a great running back. He's in good hands because Galen Hall has coached great ones at Oklahoma. Been a part of coaching great ones in Florida.
Second down 8 from the 41. Good blocking that time. Bell. It's complete to Ernie Mills to the 9-yard line. The freshman from Dunellen, Florida, on the receiving end of a Kerwin Bell pass of 50 yards, reminiscent of the Kerwin Bell of his first, second, and third year.
You're going to see this again, and Bell doesn't really want the deep man here. The tight end, Walter Odom, has trouble getting away from the linebacker. He sees Odom's not free, and he decides to uncork one. Kermit Kendrick's in great shape. He just loses the ball at the last moment, and Mills comes up with the play. And Mills is the fastest player on Florida's football team. He's clocked at under 4.3 in the 40.
Now Bell, 6 of 12 for 94 yards, and has him knocking at the door again. Comes to the sideline. Now, we'll come back, and I'll have a question for you, Tim. I'll give you 30 seconds to think about this. Why won't Florida run down here? 2:09 to go in the half.
Introducing the 1988 Dodge Raider. Pound for pound, the best standard-equipped import 4x4 on or off the road. With everything from automatic locking hubs Toyota's base 4Runner won't give you, to an inclinometer Nissan doesn't have. The way we see it, that's how a 4x4 like Dodge Raider should be.
You want some expert analysis of this game at halftime, you're going to get it. Auburn head coach Pat Dye live in the studio with Craig Sager. He'll be talking about this game and other scores from around the country. Our big gainer of the week, the Alabama $1 Million Band. But right now, it's first and goal, Florida from the 9. Will they run it?
Last time in this situation, they tried to get it to Willie McGrady. I think they'll run it. Well, they get their flanker line in a lot closer, Bob.
Mills in motion. Emmitt Smith. Popping it to the outside, getting it to the 5. That was a tough run. Anthony Smith with the stop.
The play looked like it was stuffed at the line of scrimmage. A nice job by the Alabama defense at the point of attack. Vantrese Davis almost gets a hand on him. Somebody else misses. Anthony Smith trying to hold on. Emmitt Smith just keeps fighting to get to the outside, fighting to get to the front.
Second down, goal from the 5. Tied at 3. Minute 35 to go in the half. Gators on the move. Emmitt Smith needs the block. Falls down. Tried to cut against the grain and went down at the 5. It'll be third and goal from the 5. The last time Florida was down here, they tried to throw it into the end zone, were unsuccessful, took the field goal. This time they have tried to run. 2 plays, Emmitt Smith. I'm a little surprised that Willie McGrady's not blocking in there. They have either Cedric Smith or Anthony Williams in previously. See Anthony Williams in there now.
Anthony Williams in there now. He catches the ball well.
Split back formation. They're out of the eye. 3rd and goal. Incomplete. Ernie Mills just dropped it. Beautiful touch on the ball by Kerwin Bell, and once again, the receivers don't come up with the play when they need it.
Lee Osmond coverage. They're really putting the pressure on Osmond here. A strong safety linebacker type, and that's been the story of Kerwin Bell's first 3 games. He puts the ball there. Nice touch on the ball. It should have been 6.
Robert McGinney gets the 26-yard field goal, and Florida has taken a lead 6-3 with 48 seconds remaining in the first half. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Lindsey obviously thinking run. 5 linebackers in the game, just 3 defensive backs, which put Lee Osmond on Ernie Mills, Florida's fastest player. Mills in good position, the ball thrown well, but he just dropped it.
Bobby Humphrey on the left, number 26, number 35. Good. On the right side of your screen. It's 6-3 Florida. 48 seconds to go in this half. Trying to keep it away from Humphrey, but it seemed a man I didn't want to have it. Way up front. Alabama with good field position at the 38-yard line. And that was number 33, John Cassimus, who's had to touch the ball twice on kickoff returns now, as Florida trying to keep it out of the hands of Good and Humphrey back deep. So Alabama has 43 seconds now to try to get back in the lead or at least tie up this ball game. Alabama has all 3 timeouts remaining here in the first half and good field position from their own 37. Mike Shula was very adept at this under 2-minute drill. Let's see how David Smith is. Trouble down at the 29. It was Jeff Roth, his 2nd sack of this game. Loss of 9.
Ray Perkins believed in playing a quarterback almost exclusively. So in the last 2 years, Smith has only taken 54 snaps. So that's coming in with virtually no experience. One of the benefits that he did have, though, as you see the replay, Payne breaking to the outside, just nobody there. I think he's looking for Cross coming across the formation. One of the benefits he did have, though, was studying film with Mike, who had an excellent understanding of the game.
On 2nd down 19, Wright, the fullback, breaks a tackle. That's the 41. Clock runs down to double zeros, and the first half of this game is history. It's been a beauty. An old-fashioned rock'em sock'em Southeastern Conference slugfest from Legion Field. Back with our halftime show right after this. The Florida Gators leading by a score of 6-3. It is a defensive ball game, but Florida is dominating on offense. 213 yards net to 73 net for Alabama.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, statistics are for analysts, right? So dominating, I think, is a little strong. Let's look at a few plays here. One thing that Florida has done is they've discovered a couple of freshman phenoms. Watch the freshman fullback blocking on Greg Gilbert there. Keeps his feet as Emmitt Smith cuts back inside, and now McGrady goes find somebody else. Gene Jelks says, "Follow me, Emmitt. I'm going to take you to the end zone," and Kermit Kendrick comes over and makes a save. But those 2 guys working together has been awfully difficult for the Alabama defense to stop. On the other side of the ball, you've got a guy that has looked flashy at times, but the Florida defense has done a great job converging on Bobby Humphrey. He hasn't yet been able to really roll off the big one, but he's a threat to do that at any time. Now, against Penn State, Alabama effectively used the play pass and the counter to the fullback as a kind of a counterpunch to keep the defense off balance. Florida hasn't gone for that. They've covered the receivers well, and they put pressure on David Smith. He really hasn't been able to do anything with the play pass action.
We'll be back for the second half kickoff right after this. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Undefeated powers collide on the gridiron when Auburn battles Tennessee, SEC 87. 12:15 Eastern on the Superstation next week.
Ready to to begin the second half from Legion Field in Birmingham. 30 minutes of SEC football between Alabama and Florida remaining. Florida leading by a score of 6-3. About 80 degrees the temperature here. It's overcast. Threat of rain, hasn't rained yet. Humphrey elects to touch it down, bring it out for the touchback at the 20-yard line. There the Alka-Seltzer Plus halftime statistics, and those are those total yards we were talking about, 213 to 73. Florida also has had the ball a little bit more than Alabama. And Florida did say, Tim, that they thought that ball control was going to be necessary for them to hang in this ball game.
Right, they'd like to keep the ball away from Alabama, and Bobby Humphrey, 73 yards for Alabama rushing. Florida is tough against the rush. They'd only given up 95 yards in 2 games prior to this contest.
Humphrey has 56 of those 73 yards. Alabama. Humphrey again. Oh, he's so elusive. Not much there. He gets about 3.5 yards. Pat Moore and Ricky Mulberry with the stops for Florida.
Rushed the ball 9 times, 1 pass. They've averaged under 4 yards. They need to do better than that on first down. They need to stay out of must-pass situations against this Florida defense.
That was almost exactly the average there, about 3.9 yards on that one. Second down, 6, we'll call it, from the 24. Play fake. Smith with the option. Here comes Humphrey. Played very well. Kerry Watkins, number 4, upending Bobby Humphrey. There they go again. Florida trying to take Humphrey away on that play.
That's right. This time they let him make the pitch. Humphrey delays, and here it comes. Now, watch Kerry Watkins. He fights through the block, of Clay Whitehurst. Whitehurst got to wall him off. Just get in his way. Keep him out of there. Good effort by Kerry Watkins.
Kind of a wide receiver block.
Yeah, right. You know, he's one of those guys.
3rd and 5 from the 25. Incomplete, trying to get it to the fullback, 46 coming out. It's Alabama. 3 downs and a punt.
Early in the game, Bob, they ran that same play pass, and Smith was able to stick it in over Jarvis Williams' head. That time, Williams had a great drop, forced him to throw it to the up front man. The ball is a little overthrown.
Chris Moore will punt again. One of the best punters in the nation here for Alabama. That's what he did today. Excellent game. This one not so good. Coming down to the short man at the 40-yard line. Number 30 is Steve Lowe. That's only a 35-yard punt for Chris Moore. So it'll be Florida ball. Good field position.
This Bud for all.
Portions of today's game are brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. 13:29 to go. 3rd quarter. Florida leads 6-3.
And there's that first down graphic for Florida. 15 rushes, no pass. Why no passes? They haven't needed it yet.
Emmitt Smith is why. Bell throws a first down pass. It's intercepted by Lee Osmond. Bell with his 2nd interception today, his 6th interception on the year.
The receiver's got to come back and get the ball. This ball is thrown on timing. Bell knows he's got a slant there. Now come on back toward the ball. No way Osmond can get there and make the play, but he does. Excellent play by Lee Osmond. Fights his way through the receiver. Bell looks in disbelief.
The first down pass of the game, as Tim was pointing out to you, and it's intercepted for Florida. 1st and 10 Alabama at the 48 of the Gators. Big turnover. Smith, the reverse, Pierre Good, he's got a blocking wall. To the 9-yard line, tackled by Louis Oliver. Pierre Good, the sophomore brother of Kerry Good. 38 yards on the reverse.
We got an ISO on Kerry Good here. Now, one of the things about Florida is they pursue with a vengeance, and they get caught on it this time. been talking about Willie McGrady paving the way for Emmitt Smith. Let's watch this one again. Let's see if we can see Bo Wright. Well, we'll catch it the next time. Excellent job by Bo Wright, knocking out a Florida linebacker.
Second down goal from the 4. Double tight ends, Greg Epps and Howard Cross. Two fullbacks. Fumble! Penalty marker down also. It's Florida. Alabama ball. Problem with the snap. Let's see who that center is. I don't think Mike Zug is back, so that's the young man, the freshman. Probably Chris Robinette, number 50. Yes, he is the center. Probably the exchange that time.
Ball foul, illegal procedure against the offense. Still second down.
Back to just inside.
Hard to see anybody moving there. Smith can't get a handle on the football. Falls on it himself. Hard to see the procedure penalty. Now you're talking about second down. What people like down here are the fades like Florida tried to run, or with two tight ends crossing patterns, trying to lose the defenders in the traffic.
Florida leading 6-3 early in the third quarter. David Smith gets only a couple back. It's going to be third down and about 7 for the touchdown. Henry Brown with the stop for the Gators. Mark it at the 8-yard line. Third down goal. Alabama in a big third down conversion situation. They send Battle wide to the right side. Stafford to the left side. Incomplete. They were trying to find Angelo Stafford. Oliver with the coverage. After having it first down goal at the 9, Alabama can't get it in the end zone.
Well, I'm surprised by this one. They've got a guy out there jamming Stafford. And Lewis Oliver waiting back there for the fade. And that particular play had minimum chance of success.
Very happy to Holder. He had trouble handling it earlier. Doyle. There's no problems with this one. This game is knotted at 6 with 10:58 to go in the third quarter. Florida dodged a bullet there. Alabama was knocking on the door. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Again, this game's tied at 6. Bell has thrown 2 interceptions today.
I think it's a matter of anticipation between he and his receivers. They're just not responding to what they see in concert.
Kerry Watkins at the 8. To the 35-yard line. Outstanding job of kickoff return by Watkins. He was tackled by 16 John Davis. Watkins just 5'11", 185. The sophomore gives Kerwin Bell and the Gators good field position. Knotted at 6, 10:48 to go in the third. Look at this. Florida -6 in the giveaway takeaway column. Alabama +9. That'll be up among the nation's leaders. May lead the nation after this week if they don't lose it again. Emmitt Smith. Out of bounds after a gain of about 3.5 to 4 yards. Chased out by 42 Lee Osmond, who's been playing well in the secondary for Alabama today. Had the interception earlier.
Exactly, and he beat out Rory Turner. Turner is actually hurt during the spring, missed spring practice, but Osmond's got that size. He's almost 6'5", weighs about 215, and he's got excellent feet. Sometimes when they get that long, they don't have as good a reaction time, but we saw his reaction time earlier in that interception.
Second down 6, Smith. Look at the room. To the 44-yard line. Emmitt Smith, that's going to be just shy of the first down. John Mangum came up to make the play, so it'll be third down and about a yard for Florida. Smith with 116 yards and 21 carries. His high in terms of number of carries prior to this was 10 against Tulsa. The big question is, he's young, he's 18 years old, only weighs 200 pounds, 5'10", and how many times can he carry the ball? 21 so far, successful.
He's going to punt it. Or maybe he's not going to punt it. He pointed in there. I just thought that meant the punting team should come onto the field.
And you were right, and they do.
And Willie Wyatt did a fine job there, too, Bob. He just fought right through the center to make contact with Smith in the backfield.
There's Gene Jelks, the punt returner. McGinty hit one for 28 yards earlier. Needs a better one here. That's a little better. Fair catch, Jelks at the 17-yard line. So Florida could not take advantage of good field position. They turn it over to Alabama. The game is tied at 6. 9:06 to go in the third.
You're listening to Children of Japan. This joyous and beautiful sound comes to you from Delta Airlines.
Thus far. About 3 or 4 yards to Doug Allen, the fullback, across the 20 to the 21 for Alabama. Time remaining in the third quarter. From Legion Field in Birmingham, along with Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal. Our spotter, Kim Anderson, Alex Reguera, statistician, booth manager, Nicky Nichols. Florida player injured on the play. Defensive tackle, Randy Weston, number 68. Rondi Weston is down.
And that first three is really strong for Florida. Weston, Brown, and Ross. But there is not much going on beyond that. Webby Burnett, Ross, backup isn't even here. And he's got an injury problem. He's back in Gainesville. Pat Pinner was a quarterback. So they drop a long way in their second teamers there.
Mark Sager goes in to replace Weston, who appeared to be okay. Second down 8, Alabama, from their own Whitehurst promotion. Incomplete, trying to find the tight end, Howard Cross. The third and 8. And David Smith is 2 for 9 for only 20 yards throwing the ball today.
In David's defense, he hasn't really had a lot of time to throw it, and when he had some time, the Gator pass defense has done an excellent job. You know, over the last 4 years, 4 years ago they were second in the SEC, then first, third in the SEC in total defense. So it's a fine football team here.
Third down 8, Alabama. Double tight ends this time. Only one split in with Whitehurst. Humphrey and Bo Wright in the backfield. Right. Big hole. What a run by Wright. The senior from Pritchard, Alabama, gets 19 yards on the quick opener. He was stopped eventually by 26 Jarvis Williams.
Look at it. This is our view of it all, breaking down. Look at that hole. What a fantastic job by the Alabama offensive line. Obviously, the Florida defenders expecting pass, heading upfield, not really anticipating run. He breaks the tackle of Lewis Oliver, and he's off.
First and 10 from the 38.5-yard line. Humphrey hit in the backfield. Clifford Charlton met him, 56. Hello. There's two great athletes running into each other. Charlton has had half a sack today, a couple of tackles, but he's been pressuring the quarterback all day and penetrating well. Makes a big play there.
It's a poker game between the defensive coordinator from Florida and Rip Shear of Alabama. Some plays just don't work against some defenses. You just try to anticipate.
Second down 12 from the 37. All over Smith again. Down he goes, and it was Rondi Weston who had been shaken up earlier. Is he okay? Yes. 5 quarterback sacks today for Florida's defense.
Okay, remember we talked about they're going to keep it out of Humphrey's hands. This is a quick screen to Humphrey. But they peeled right off on it. They're not going to let him touch the ball if they can in open field, and Smith had nowhere to go, and Weston in his face.
At the beginning of the game, Tim, I said, Florida loses 31-4 Miami. How good is the defense? You said better than people think. Playing well. Third and 22 from the 27. This time Smith has time. Tried to get it to Battle, threw it low. Marco could not catch it. And Bama will punt again.
I I'm almost surprised they didn't run a draw here. In the sense that against a Florida defense like this, it's hard to stick it in. But he found it just a little bit low. Battle is still short of the first down.
In this half, Bobby Humphrey has only 8 yards in 4 carries. It's 4th and 22. Moore averaging 44 yards a punt today. And that's Tony Lomack, who catches it at the 32. There's a penalty marker down back at the line of scrimmage. 40-yard punt this time for Moore. As you see, the officials and the players indicating the penalty is going to be called against Alabama. 6:27 to go in the third quarter. Bill Curry has on his Top Gun fighter pilot glasses there. That makes him even more intense, and it's cloudy out.
Well, Curry's got quite a pedigree for a coach, having played for Bobby Dodd, Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, and you can see characteristics from each one of those personalities.
Had a personal foul against the red team on the run back, 15 yards. Headed on.
That's going to be added on after the play. What a big play that will prove to be. 15 yards from the 32, gets it all the way out here to midfield. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. I'm more excited about the quality top to bottom of the SEC football quality this year than I have been for many years. A great game here today between Florida and Alabama. We hope you'll join us right here, Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, next week. TBS Sports presents SEC football with the Auburn Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers. That's at 12:30 Eastern Time. Be sure to catch the pre-game coverage with College Football Grandstand at 12:15. Auburn and Tennessee next week from Knoxville. Emmitt Smith. All the way to the 29-yard line. Gene Jelks hold him out of bounds. 22 yards for Emmitt Smith. And he has 138 on the day, and Willie McGrady's involved.
You bet. Watch 77 Sims. Gets a good block out of Gilbert, and Emmitt says, Willie, I'm right behind you, man. That's pretty good protection right there. Jelks hangs on for dear life and wrestles him out of bounds.
1st and 10 from the 28. This game tied at 6. 6 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the third. Alabama was there. They faked the pitch to Emmitt Smith, gave to fullback Willie McGrady, number 38. But Willie Shepard, 96 for Alabama, broke it up.
Well, Alabama saw that happen last week. The only difference is they were doing it last week. Penn State.
Remember 1982 when John L. Williams and Neil Anderson were the freshman running backs for Florida. They've got another couple of great ones here. Here's Smith leading the way. McGrady. Smith's gone. Touchdown, Florida. Emmitt Smith up the middle for 30 yards. He has 169 rushing on the day.
Once again, a fine job of blocking. See, Gilbert blitzes to the outside. It looks like one of the Bama players went the wrong way, created a scene. And I don't know if you were able to see it, but Kermit Kendrick ran into the official as he tried to get there, and the official took him out of the play. Touchdown, Emmitt Smith.
Florida 13, Alabama 6. 5 minutes, 39 seconds to go in the third. And Emmitt Smith has 169 yards rushing. The total rushing, by the way, for Florida is 180. Is he important today? Absolutely. But Willie McGrady and that offensive line, what a job.
Let's watch this again. On a blitz, you're trying to fill every gap. On the top of your screen there, see number 98, Willie Wyatt goes outside. So does Greg Gilbert. They both go outside, which opens up a gap. And there it is. Kermit Kendrick getting knocked off by the official. Nice job of running and a good job of blocking by Florida. Bad fortune for Alabama.
Emmitt Smith. Galen Hall told me when I was in Gainesville prior to the Miami game, he said, look, don't get me wrong. I like Wayne Williams and Anthony Williams and Cedric Smith and Octavius Gould. But he said the back who's going to make it happen for the Florida Gators is Emmitt Smith. He's 18 years old. He's a true freshman. He was great in high school. But we never know till he gets tested. Well, he's being tested against an Alabama defense today, and he's getting an A thus far. Kerry Good, 35 on the right. 26, Bobby Humphrey on the left of the screen for the kickoff. Florida leading. First touchdown of this game. trailing 13-6.
Another problem that you deal with as a coach, Bob, when considering who to start and who to play is that Anthony Williams has been a 4-year player for him, so there's some loyalty there. And you don't want to run that guy off and put him on the bench. I mean, he deserves to play, and he will play. He's a good pass catcher, a good blocker, and Wayne Williams is a good back, as is Octavius Gould, who was their leading rusher last year as a freshman.
First down 10 from the 20. Battle in motion. To the fullback, about 2 yards, Bo Wright. Once again on this first down, Alabama not getting much, giving that Florida defense time to tee off if they choose. Some college football scores today. Kentucky leading Indiana 17-7. Kentucky may be better than a lot of people think around the country, too. They certainly have some great running backs. Ohio State, a close one with Oregon. Arkansas, no problem with Tulsa. Arkansas picked to win the Southwest Conference. Michigan finds themselves in a dogfight again after getting clobbered by Notre Dame last week. Richardson, Huey Richardson, Mitchell Smith, but number 59, Jason Lamberth, doesn't. Richardson, number 90, came shooting in from one side, flushed him out, and Lamberth was there. Penalty marker down.
We got a foul after the play. There was confusion on the part of the Florida defense, but obviously Huey Richardson went unblocked. There's some confusion there. Jason Lamberth.
Personal foul against the center. First down.
Oh, that nullifies a great play. They'll spot the ball all the way out to the 38-yard line.
The flag came out late, Bob. I'm not sure. Lambert grabs him, throws him to the ground. Now he's down. I don't know if there's something that happened later on because the flag came out very late. It's not on the ground at that point.
First and 10 Alabama from the 38-yard line. Florida leading 13-6. Big break for Alabama on the personal foul on the Florida Gators. Here's that option. David Smith keeping and going down hard at about the 40-41-yard line. And Tim, you really called it when you talked about the Florida defensive game plan, trying to keep the ball out of the hands of Bobby Humphrey on that option play. They've done a great job of that today.
David Smith doesn't want to run with the football. He's saying to the defensive player, take me. Come on, it's your responsibility. Take me. The defensive player says, I'm not worried about you, son. Go ahead and run it. Because they feel by the time he turns upfield, that inside linebacker core will be there to take him.
Smith had to carry it 8 times today. More than he wants, as you said. 2nd and 7 from the 41. Whitehurst in motion. This time Humphrey gets it on the quick pitch. Florida's there. Humphrey gets only 1 or 2 to about the 43. Jarvis Williams with his 5th tackle of the afternoon. And Humphrey now with 17 carries and 65 yards. He had 220 versus Penn State. Bill Curry getting some information there on the sidelines. Doesn't wear the headsets. Total confidence in both his offensive and defensive coordinator. Just a great administrator, motivator, an eloquent speaker. Great choice as the head coach here at Alabama. 3rd down. 6 from the 42. Here comes the pressure again. Smith's going to run it out of there. Short of the first down. About a yard or 2 short of the first down. Gerald Dickens with the tackle. The quarterback pressure was 99 Brown all over him. This Florida defense is rising to the occasion today, playing well.
Let me tell you what the defensive secondary is doing for Florida. As those tight ends and running backs come up the field, they're getting jammed. They're getting hit by the linebacker. They're supposed to be clearing out an area, and they're not able to clear it out because of the good job by the underneath coverage of Florida.
Jarvis Williams for the 23. Chris Moore has punted 6 times today. That one for 38 yards. Now, Florida Gators with the lead. This is where Galen Hall wanted to be. He wanted to have a lead late in the game. Obviously he did, but what I'm saying is he wanted to be there so he could mix up the plays and not have to have Kerwin Bell staring that pass rush in his face all the time.
Exactly, and I think what they're going to try to do here is just keep it on the ground as much as they can. They've had great success. They're going to force Alabama to stop their ground game before they get it in the air. Derek Thomas lined up right over the middle there, Bob.
They hand the ball to 23 Wayne Williams, who gets only a couple. So Florida's got the old men in there now. Junior Wayne Williams and sophomore Cedric Smith. The freshmen, both Emmitt Smith and McGrady taking a rest on the sideline.
As we said before, Galen's been around some great running backs at Oklahoma. Steve Owen, Billy Sims, Joe Washington, Peacock, and then again at Florida. So he's used to great running backs, and I'm sure he sees a flare of all those people in Emmitt Smith.
Wayne Williams, a couple. To about the 27-yard line. He was hit by 98 Willie Wyatt and 55 Derek Thomas. Time remaining in the third quarter, 1:54. Florida with a 7-point lead.
Time's running, and that's what Galen wants. He wants the clock to run, and defensively, Alabama's got a 3 and out. 3 plays, make them punt, give the ball back to their offense.
And interesting here, the play clock, the 25-second play clock is down to 5 seconds, so they're using it all before snapping the ball. Shovel pass, Wayne Williams hitting the backfield, nothing happening. Penalty marker down. Well, is there a difference in the Florida offense when Emmitt Smith and Willie McGrady aren't in there? You bet. You just saw it. Not to say anything about that Alabama defense. Penetrating, making plays in the backfield.
And they're just going to challenge Bob. They'll challenge on every play, Bob. They'll force him to throw the ball outside.
McGinty gets off pretty good punt this time. Drives Jelks way back to the 21-yard line. Wants a wall, doesn't get it. Great coverage by Florida at the 25. First man down to make the stop is Jerry Odom, 57. 53-yard punt, a big one for a big one for Jamie McAndrew just when he needed it.
McAndrew hit that on a line. I mean, that's the kind that scare you as a coach because the ball gets delivered too fast. And when it's being delivered into the hands of Gene Jelks, then it's a big problem. But what a job by the young Odom going down there.
Slot left formation, Alabama in that I formation, trailing 13-6. Closing moments of the third quarter from their own 25. Humphrey gets a couple, and that's all. Jeff Ruder makes the stop.
If you're going to, excuse me, I'm sorry, Bob.
I was just going to say, Humphrey's having a hard time today. He just has 11 yards in this half.
If you're going to develop a strong running game, that's how it's going to be. You're going to get 2 yards. You're going to get 3 yards. You might even lose 1 or 2. But you know, and I know, every time that Humphrey touches the ball, he gets a crack, breaks the tackle, and 60 yards, gone.
Second down, 8, 27. Here he comes again. The crack hasn't been there yet. But it was almost there that time, about 5.
See, defensively, what you want to do is stay on your feet. Most of the time, how players get in trouble against a great running back is they'll take a side on a blocker, or they'll dive. But you know that every time Humphrey touches the ball, every player on that Florida defense is rushing to a spot. They need to do that. They need to do that.
You don't want to miss the fourth quarter, folks. It's a beauty at Legion Field in Birmingham. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. 15 minutes of football remaining at Legion Field in Birmingham. Florida leading 13-6. Alabama can't get it untracked. What must they do?
I think they got to continue to try to get done what they're trying to do now, and they'll break Humphrey, but you have to stay with it, and it's too early to panic. There's 15 minutes left. They got a lot of time.
Bill Curry's had all kinds of pressure before as a player and as a head football coach. I doubt that he'll panic here. I'm sure we'll see Humphrey just hammering away. 3rd and 3. David Smith finds the hole, gets the first fumble. Florida football. Alabama's second turnover of the entire season, and it comes on a critical 3rd and short yardage first down run by David Smith. Kerry Watkins fell on the ball for Florida.
Let's remember what the Florida coaches told us. They told us we're going to make them beat us with their quarterback and their fullback. Smith turns upfield. He's got the first down. Looked like he was down to me.
The ground can't cause a fumble, and it looked like it is. Better view here.
Whoa.
I question it.
Yeah.
First and 10 from the 39. Emmitt Smith. About 2. Remember, the turf can't cause the fumble.
Now, look at Williams. Williams gives him a shot there, but is his knee down? It looked to me like his knee was down. Can you back that up, Skip?
I will say this, on that very slow-mo replay, the official was on it again because the ball was not knocked out by the turf. It came loose prior to hitting the turf, meaning it was probably a good call.
Well, I think his knee might have been down, though. See, if his knee's down, it doesn't matter how it came out.
Good point. Second down 9 from the 38. Gators football leading 13-6. Play fake. Bell going for a 6. Incomplete. Had his man, Tony Lomack. Beautiful pass by Kerwin Bell. You have to really feel for it. It would have been a very good catch, but it should have been caught probably. Mangum covering.
On the money. When Kerwin goes to bed at night, he prays, Lord, please send me the receiver that catches the ball. Not an easy catch, Tony. Not an easy catch, but one that should be made at this level of football. That's 2 touchdowns that Kerwin should have had on the board.
Florida only 3 out of 9 on third down conversions, and now a 4th team receiver in there. Number 1, Ed Frazier with Stacy Simmons. On the draw, Emmitt Smith. First down, Florida. That's what happens when you've got a back rolling as well as Emmitt Smith is today. He gets 11 on that carry. You can have 3rd and 9, and you don't have to get teed off on and throw the ball. Alabama players shaken up.
Exactly right, Bob. Instead of just laying their ears back and coming like Miami did to Florida, Alabama's got to be concerned about the draw.
The player who's shaken up for Alabama is the true freshman, Robert Stewart, number 34. Emmitt Smith has 181 yards on the day. We were talking about Bobby Humphrey and all his 200-yard-plus games. The most ever by a freshman running back at Florida, 197 yards by Neil Anderson versus Kentucky in '82. So Emmitt Smith has a great chance to gain the most yardage ever for a freshman running back at Florida.
Florida came in here with something to prove. I think they went down into that Miami game. They were tight, they were nervous, they were concerned. And Miami just never let them up. They just hammered them and hammered them and hammered them. They came in here with something to prove against a good Alabama football team, and thus far, they certainly are proving it.
Stewart is the true freshman, 34, being helped off the field, a freshman from Ashford, Alabama. Alabama's already lost their starting center for this game with a dislocated elbow, Mike Zuka. A couple of significant injuries thus far for Alabama. First down, 10 Gators from the 28-yard line of Alabama. Florida leading 13-6. 13 and a half minutes to go in this game. Emmitt Smith. The hole closed up, but it didn't stop Smith from getting about 5.
Randy Rockwell would have had most normal running backs in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. But a duck and a feint, and he turns that into a gain.
We talked about Bobby Humphrey. You said he reminds you some physically in the way he moves of O.J. Simpson in college. How about Emmitt Smith? He's size-wise Walter Payton.
Yeah, more like Walter Payton. Exactly. You know, machine gun speed, pop. Not as fluid as an O.J. Simpson. Different style of running.
Lomack in motion. Second down, Smith. Driving hard. Close to, but short of the first down. I think they're going to spot it at about the 19. Has to get inside the 18 for the first down. Florida keeping it on the ground, leading by 7. 12 and a half minutes to go in this game. Florida can put something on the board here. It'll make Alabama's job, of course, much tougher because it'll put them beyond a touchdown. Catching up.
I must admit that this Florida running game surprises me, Bob. We both agreed that Emmitt Smith had the ability to be a great back. I was unaware of the secret weapon in McGrady. He's got a snowplow in front of him.
Third down 1. Looked like Florida moved. I think David Williams may have hopped best offensive lineman for Florida.
There you saw David talking to himself. You saw it right, Bob. But look at that form. I mean, if you're going to move, at least get a good block. How about that? Face in the chest.
Now the clock down inside 12 minutes, so it's going to be tougher. 3rd down 6 from the 24. Alabama got down close to attempt to score a touchdown earlier in this second half, and because of a penalty couldn't convert, had to take the field goal. Now Florida's putting themselves in some problems with penalties. Smith made a miss. He's going to be 2 yards short of the first down to the 20. So Florida is going to send in their place kicker, Robert McGinty, who's going to try one from about 37. Earlier today, McGinty has kicked a 26-yard field goal, a 21-yard field goal, and missed a 51-yarder. McGinty, the senior, used to be at Auburn. It is good. Florida tacks 3 more under their lead. And now ahead of Alabama by 10, 16-6 with 11-11 remaining in this game. 11 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in this ball game. This portion of SEC football is brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with a first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. McGinty's been hitting them into the end zone. Not this time. Humphrey got a little trouble down there. Almost had the seam. Spotted at the 22-yard line. Were it not for him being tripped up by number 94, Andy Newman, Humphrey was just so close. So the second half has been not exactly Bobby's game. 7 rushes, 17 yards, you can see.
Just like when they talk about the Heisman, one of Bill Curry's quotes was that it's an individual award, but it's rewarded to a team player because it's got a lot of team implications. If you don't have the...
And look at the new quarterback. Vince Sutton in there, Tim Foley. And he fumbles the snap, and Florida has it. Vince Sutton comes in, replaces David Smith, has a problem with the exchange from the freshman center who had to replace the injured Mike Zuga, and Mark Murray fell on the ball. Louis Oliver there, too.
Okay, let me tell you about this. Understand that Florida has said, throw it to Humphrey. We're not going to let him run with the ball, and you can run your quarterback all day long. So what Curry does is say, hey, if you're going to let him run, I'm going to put Sutton in the game because he can really fly.
Emmitt Smith down to the 17-yard line. So Alabama with 2 turnovers here in the second half. They have been significant ones, too, both inside Alabama territory. Florida leading by 10, 16-6, clock down to 10.5, and the Gators in position to score again.
But that's the philosophy there. He needed a quarterback in the game that wasn't a great field general necessarily, but that had great skills, and Vince Sutton is that player for Alabama.
2nd down 5. McGrady, the fullback, not much, a couple of yards, near the 15. There you go, Emmitt Smith. He now holds the record for rushing by a freshman running back in Florida history, and there have been some great ones. You say, what about Neil Anderson? Well, Anderson held the old record. That was 197 yards against Kentucky in 1982.
I wonder if McGrady thought this would be any more difficult than it's been for him today, or Emmitt Smith. It's kind of like Malacca or Scambia.
Emmitt Smith looking for 200 yards in his second touchdown. Look at the move to the 5. Oh, my, Emmitt Smith. 11 yards on that carry. 209 on the day.
Let's watch them up front here. They set up, but the Alabama players choose a side. Sims just runs Gilbert around. They're in a blitz. Willie Wyatt doesn't react back in time to make the play, and he averaged 180 yards as a high school player, scored 106 touchdowns for Escambia, and again, the most highly recruited running back in the country last year.
2nd down goal from the 5. Mills in motion. Emmitt Smith, they're going to stay with him. Down to the 1.5 yard line. He's tripped up there. 2nd down goal. The most yards rushing in a game ever by a Florida running back, Red Bethea versus Chicago in 1930, had 218. So Smith is in reach of the most yards ever in a ball game running the football as an 18-year-old freshman in his third game, first start. What a performance here today. Second down goal. Galen Hall said, I don't know if he can carry it 30 times. How about 32, coach? Smith trying to get to the corner. Couldn't get there. Looked a little tired, and well, he should be. He did not have that blazing burst of speed, Tim.
He tried to slip out to the outside, and like rigor mortis had struck in his leg. Look at this. He's just a little leg weary. He tried to put on his chest there, and that corner used to be closer than this.
He loaded just enough fuel for 32 carries. Figuring he'd get 15, right?
What a display of talent.
3 tight ends in there for the Gators. Third and goal from the 1. Emmitt Smith, airborne, touchdown! Well, that's going to put it really close to being out of reach. 22-6 Florida. 7:50 to go in this ball game. Smith, 214 yards in 34 carries. Point after is good. 23-6 Florida. 7:50 to go in the game. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Announcing.
You bet, Emmett. Take good care of those rascals. They keep all the big bad guys off you. Let's watch him get it into the end zone. 214 yards, and he's hugging up those big offensive linemen. A good running back will always spread the spotlight because he knows he can't do it all on his own. Although, Emmett, you did some of it on your own today. Get downfield, he's hard to tackle, hard to corral in the open field.
Well, Galen Hall, as we pointed out, has seen great running backs at Oklahoma and at Florida. And when he got excited about Emmitt Smith, you knew there was a reason to be excited. Good stopped at the 18-yard line. Well, the Alabama turnover was really the key there. Here's how it's gone in this game. Alabama drew first blood. 36-yard field goal by Doyle. It's been the first half was really a slugfest. Florida came back and tied it up 3-3. And they came back, got another field goal from 21 yards. Neither team able to get it in the end zone. Then Alabama tied it on the 25-yard field goal. And Alabama missed a touchdown opportunity there. They were paid dearly for that because Florida comes back and scores 2 touchdowns. 23-6, the Gators lead. And now Vince Sutton continues at quarterback. He's going to throw it, batted into the air, almost picked off by the freshman Huey Richardson. And now Alabama's in the position that Florida was against Miami.
Exactly. Sutton going back to throw. Good job by Richardson. He's going to be a great pass rusher because he got some distance from the offensive lineman and leaped into the air. And that happens. Offensive linemen are supposed to maintain contact, keep those hands down.
Second down 10. Vince Sutton, junior from LaGrange, also very highly recruited out of high school. Sutton, rolling and throwing. Good arm. Overthrows Whitehurst. It falls incomplete. 7:30 to go in the game. Huey Richardson, he's 6'5", freshman from Atlanta, number 90.
And watch him fly in there. Clifford Charlton, they've got Clifford Charlton. Of course, they had Wilbur Marshall. Just fantastic linebackers in the past, and Huey Richardson's going to be another one.
At Atlanta's Lakeside High School, they called him Baby Huey, with a smile on their face.
Clifford Charlton's back in the game now as Richardson comes to the sideline.
Third down 10 from the 18. Alabama trailing 23-6. Here comes Clifford Charlton. He misses Sutton. Incomplete out here for 48 yards. Alabama fans wanted a penalty marker. It was intended for Bo Wright. Alabama will have to give it up with 7 minutes, 21 seconds to go in the game. And Alabama, you euphoria in Tuscaloosa and the state of Alabama this week over the crushing defeat of Penn State by the Crimson Tide last week. But I'll tell you one thing about Bill Curry. Of course, everybody knows about the pressure, the unpopularity of him being hired in some quarters as the head coach, etc. He will remain the same. Bill Curry is consistent. He will continue working. He won't let this bother him in that regard, even though, of course, he'll hate losing. To the 41-yard line where Florida will take over the ball. But it'll be a little rougher for the Crimson Tide in Alabama this week. 7:08 to go in this game.
Georgia wearing red breeches for the second time since the national championship season of 1980. Taking on Clemson at Clemson. Myers Tate out of the backfield, gets the pass from James Jackson, goes down the sideline, picks up a first down that leads to a field goal. Georgia leads Clemson 3-0. Back to Bob and Tim.
Thank you, Craig Sager. Yes, you may be surprised if you're dialing in. Florida 23, Alabama 6, 7:08 to go in the ball game. Emmitt Smith, the freshman running back for Florida, has broken the record for most carries, 34 in a game. He's 4 yards short of tying, 5 short of breaking the all-time rushing record for Florida. Smith. Going to be right there, real close. He gets it out to the 44-yard line. That's his 35th carry of the day. And I realize the record's important, Tim, but when as a coach do you decide to pull the young man out?
Well, I think at this particular point, the reason they have him in there is for him to go ahead and get the record, and then they will get him off the field. I think he's done his share.
I'd say he's contributed today. Second down 7 from the 45. Needs a couple of yards to break the all-time rushing record for the Gators. They play fake to him. Everybody goes for him. Bell throws. A great catch by Tony Lomax at the 15. He's the young man who missed the opportunity for a touchdown reception. He made a great one in traffic, a 40-yard reception, and that can be the kind of thing that can really turn on a receiver.
It'll do a lot for his confidence. The problem before was he wasn't covered closely enough. I mean, they're all over him here. Makes a beautiful catch. Great concentration on the football. Gets it in there between Mike Smith and Shannon Feller. Beautiful catch by Tony Lomax.
First down 10. Smith. He'll have the record. That'll give him the record. The all-time Gator rushing record for Emmitt Smith on that one.
And there goes Octavius Gould into the game, right?
And Emmitt Smith will probably come to the sideline on that play. There he comes, Emmitt Smith. What a day he's had. 220 yards in 36 carries. We came in talking about Bobby Humphrey, and there's no other way to say it. Emmitt Smith stole the show.
Got a hug from Larry Kirksey there as the running back coach in Florida.
Carrying the ball, number 39, Cedric Smith, the fullback, down to the 10. This game is over, barring miracles, for Bill Curry's Crimson Tide. Florida 23-6 leaders with 5:23 remaining.
It's a much different feeling for the Florida coaching staff, especially the offensive coaching staff after Miami. I was looking for one of them to jump out of the press box. Things look so poorly, and they've come back, they've regrouped, they've got them off the mat, and they have them playing well.
This will be third down 5. Remember, this is a very good conference. At least 7 or 8 teams in here can beat every other. You're just seeing an example of it today. Octavius Gould gets about a yard. He fumbles it. Alabama has it. It ain't over till it's over. They'll have it at the 14-yard line, but only 4 minutes, 46 seconds to go in the game. That's the 4th turnover for Florida today. 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions, but they have not plagued the Gators as in that game against Miami to open the season. So Alabama has the ball. Sutton is coming back in at the quarterback position, number 10. Mentioned this about Alabama. David Smith started. The backup had been a redshirt freshman, Jeff Dunn. He missed this game because of a viral infection, and thus the third-team quarterback, Ben Sutton, is the man who's in there. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Bobby Humphrey. He's had a rough day today after having all those consecutive 200-yard games. 220 against Penn State, I should say. Only 73 yards in 19 carries today. Now Sutton has to tuck it in and run. He's a good runner for a quarterback. Out to the 26, first down for Vince Sutton. Clock down to 4:38. Ole Miss on the Budweiser scoreboard, leading Arkansas State. Ole Miss 0-2. People thought they would start better than they have thus far. Kentucky leading Indiana at the half. We'll see them later on an SEC telecast, I'm sure. Ohio State with problems today. Charlton on Sutton as he throws. Unbelievably completed it out there at the 40-yard line. That's Greg Payne gets the 14-yard reception. Clifford Charlton was right in the face of Vince Sutton. He released it anyway. Arkansas, no problem with Tulsa. Nobody is surprised about that. Michigan really struggling against a weak Washington State team. Penn State back with a vengeance today against Cincinnati. Out to the 45-yard line is Bobby Humphrey with a reception, but you're looking at a prevent defense here, so you're probably going to see some completions.
Let them complete it in front of you. Let them throw the ball in front of you, come up and make the tackle. That's the Florida scheme right now. They're out of their standard picture. Linebackers lining up deeper. Give them a little bit more room. Nothing in a hurry.
Sutton. Greg Payne, incomplete. Lewis Oliver is called for the penalty. Remember now, that'll only be a 15-yard penalty from if it is pass interference, and I'm sure that's what they'll call.
I think they'll call personal foul, Bob. The ball hit him in the back of the head. It would be hard to call it pass interference, but
good point.
Watch this elbow to the head here, and I don't think he necessarily tries to strike him, but it actually looked worse than it was.
Yeah, I don't...
from up here, my first view of it was he swung an elbow at him, and I'm sure that's what the official thought.
Now the play comes back. It'll be explained to us. Let's see what they'll call. If it is pass interference, it's first down, 15-yard penalty. In other words, prior to this, a few years ago, the ball would have been spotted down there, but now just 15. And that is the call. They spotted it at the 40. Kerry Good, 35, number 40, Bo Wright in the backfield for Alabama. 3:42 to go in this ball game. Almost picked off. That was Jarvis Williams coming across the top there. Alabama, we've talked about their tough schedule, as we have Florida's too. Alabama next week will play Vanderbilt, followed by Southwest Louisiana and Memphis State. Now, Alabama should be favored and should win those three games. You can never say, but they'll be favored in them. Then, however, Alabama has to play Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Notre Dame, and Auburn down the stretch. And that's why a lot of people think Alabama could have a difficult year in terms of their one-loss record, even if they're pretty good, and they are pretty good. Second down 10. It's complete and out of bounds at the 17-yard line to Angelo Stafford. 3:30 to go in the game. 23-6 Florida.
That was there all the way. Two deep zone. That cornerback, Kerry Watkins, has got to get more depth. Who cares about the man in the flat? Kerry gets deep. Nice catch by Stafford. Good throw by Sutton. Gets a lot on the ball.
We were talking about schedules. Florida, after this, has to play at Mississippi State, at LSU. Oh, my. Then Cal State Fullerton, a breather. Temple, a breather. Then Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, and Florida State. The Gators, likewise, looking to beat the grinder the rest of the way. Sutton. To the 13-yard line. Clock down to 3 minutes, 24 seconds.
And regardless of the outcome of this game, I think it was a stroke of genius by Joe Thomas hiring Bill Curry. It took a lot of courage to go out and hire a coach that really didn't have a winning record and bring him to a school of the tradition of Alabama. But, you know, it's not necessarily important whether he's a great X's and O man. He's a Mr. Diplomacy. He's the best recruiter in America, I would say, and just a great man to have on your staff. That, coupled with Steve Sloan, makes quite a partnership.
Second down 6 at the 13. Alabama trailing 23-6. It has been all Florida today. Incomplete, intended for the fullback, Bo Wright. Be sure to join us next week when TBS Sports presents SEC football from Knoxville, Tennessee. The Auburn Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers, both undefeated, both off this week, getting ready for that big matchup. 12:30 Eastern Time. Superstation viewers, we hope you'll get free game coverage with the college football grandstand. Can't wait to get up in Knoxville for that one. Tennessee and Auburn. Galen should relax by now, should he not, Tim?
I don't think it's in Galen's nature to relax. Head coach is part of the job. You have to worry all the time.
On 3rd down 6.
Complete. Touchdown. Angelo Stafford. He was hit so hard at the point of reception we had to wait. He was knocked out of the end zone by the tackle.
Florida defense has only had one touchdown pass thrown on it in the last 35 quarters. Boom, and Jarvis really puts it on him. And we saw that. Benny Blades made a catch in the corner of the end zone. Bang. Is that Jarvis Williams or Richard Fain? I couldn't tell if it was 26 or 28.
It was a Jarvis Williams caliber hit, which is right.
Exactly.
Alabama's going to go for 2. It's 23-12. 3 minutes, 12 seconds to go in the ball game. Now, there can be crazy things happen in ball games. There's going to be a delay of the game, I believe. They signaled it. Hold on just a second. Yes, delay of game. They signaled it ready for play. 25-second clock expired. Sutton goes to the sideline. There's the time remaining in the game. And it's 23-12. Should Alabama score here, you can add it up as well as I can and make a 2-point conversion. It'd be 23-14, meaning Alabama would be a touchdown and a field goal away.
That's Chip Wisdom talking to Vince Sutton. Chip was an all-SEC linebacker at Georgia.
Here's that touchdown.
And Sutton can get it there in a hurry. Zip. Nice catch and a pop. That's Jarvis Williams. We should have known by the fingerprints, right?
That's right. If that was Richard Fain would have been moving in the starting lineup. First and goal from the 8 now. Sutton rolling. Touchdown, Bo Wright. Vince Sutton. Now, this is not to put down David Smith because Vince Sutton came in a relief role, but he has been throwing the ball like a 30-6. He's 4 for 9 for 56 yards and a touchdown.
Come on, he's on down, he's on down.
Bo Wright eventually makes the reception here, and he's inside the circle. Didn't I draw a good circle, Bob? Yeah. Jarvis Williams ought to get the jam there to give Dickens a chance to get there for the coverage. Gerald Dickens could have run as fast as he wanted to. He wasn't going to catch up with Bo Wright. Nice throw by Vince Sutton.
The 2-point conversion. And here's the onside kick. Florida trailing, Alabama trailing by 9 now. It's covered by the back 36, Anthony Williams. And Florida maintains control. I may have said touchdown, by the way, when Bo Wright caught the 2-point conversion, but that's because it's easier to say that than 2-point conversion. Just doesn't sound right.
I got you.
23-14, Florida leads. They do have the ball. They're out at midfield in Alabama territory. And Emmitt Smith remains in the game. I got to question it myself. Although, I'm going to check right here. Okay. If I'm Galen Hall and I see that, I know that a turnover here and lack of ball control, and Alabama's back in here with a shot. But Emmitt Smith looks tired, thrown for a 1-yard loss. If he loses much here, he could lose his all-time Florida rushing record. He's down to 219. He holds the rushing record by 1 yard now. So, I don't know if Emmitt, who looks very tired, he's going to stay in there. Timeout on the field. By the way, Alabama has 2 timeouts remaining. Florida 3. It is 23-14 with 3:01 to go in this ball game. And Florida, of course, needs that first down. Minus the first down, Alabama's going to have a considerable amount of time left.
Curry giving some instructions there to Greg Gilbert. Just out of your screen to the left is Don Lindsay, the man who coordinates the defense for Alabama. And Kerwin talking to Galen Hall. The plane trip back is going to be a lot more pleasant this week than the last time we saw them.
Now, Heisman Trophy voters get influenced a lot by middle-of-the-year games and games that lead up to the Heisman. But I got to tell you what, in terms of the Heisman, Kerwin Bell has placed himself in a very deep hole here because of his performance in the first 3 games. Statistically, they haven't been there, and particularly the interceptions. Bobby Humphrey's Heisman train will slow down a little because he has not had a tremendously big day today. But it's happened to a lot of them. Gaston Green, Tim Brown, Lorenzo White. That was Emmitt Smith getting some of those yards back, and Willie Wyatt with the tackle. Clock down to 2:53.
I think that in terms of Kerwin Bell's chances for the Heisman, what damages his chances the most are he's got journeyman wide receivers at best at this point. And it's going to be difficult for him to generate the yardage and the statistics necessary to justify a vote this year. However, if you remember the past, then of course the Heisman voting isn't based on what happened in the past.
But often influenced by it.
Influenced, and you know, he was just had a marvelous year as a freshman. Finished 4th in the nation in passing efficiency as a freshman, a walk-on freshman. Next year, he came back and threw 21 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards, and he was 2nd in the nation in passing efficiency. Last year, he got hurt, and his line, his protection started to disintegrate a little bit, and he's been running for his life. Hurt his knee, and that's got to affect you.
Bobby Humphrey has been shut down. There's no other way to say it. And the Alabama offense in the second half. 7 carries, 17 yards. For the game, 73 yards. And next Saturday, Jeff Berger in Auburn, Jeff Francis in Tennessee, the quarterbacks for those two undefeated SEC powerhouses on 3rd and 8. Emmitt Smith. Can't get outside. Alabama's going to get a chance to get it back with 2 timeouts and quite a bit of time left. Clock is running. Smith did not go out of bounds. They say it stayed in bounds. It goes down to, now there's, of course, that's what the argument is about. They do stop it at 2:36. It stopped for the moment while they discuss it. Now the officials will decide whether he was out of bounds or not.
The official with the white hat just indicated that Alabama had called a timeout. Now let's see if they...
I want to double check. I want to double check this too. On our scoreboard here, it shows that Alabama is out of timeouts, and if that's the case, if that's accurate, you see on the right side of your screen, Alabama with no timeouts remaining. I had thought they had 2. If they called one now, they would have 1. So we'll double check to see if Alabama is in fact out of timeouts. We have them listed with none. We'll double check with the official score. That'll become critical in a moment with 2:36 to go, and Florida leading by 9, 23-14. We've checked. Alabama's out of timeouts. Al Ford, referee, you see in the picture.
Here you give the instructions. Jerry Anderson talking to the special teams before they send them in. Obviously, the instructions are, don't worry too much about coverage here, folks. Don't let anybody slip through. Block down hard to the inside. Make yourself wide.
Jamie McAndrew, a lot of pressure for the Florida punter. Gets it away. Not a very good punt. Gets a Florida bounce. Everything's going Florida's way today. Look at this ball roll.
Now, I want you to define a good punt.
To the 4-yard. That was a good punt. I'll define that as a good punt.
You change in a hurry.
Nobody said you had to be pretty, just lucky. I did not think that was good when it left his foot. At the 4, they spotted. 37-yard punt. Now Alabama really with problems. No timeout. 2:24 remaining in the game. Florida leads 23-14. Alabama backfield in their own end zone. Angelo Stafford, incomplete.
Can't hang on. Before the game, we talked to 2 great football coaches that are seeing this game from a different view. Steve Sloan was the coach of the year at 30 years of age, and now the athletic director at Alabama. He and his wife Brenda were in the booth here, and Bill and B.J. Arnsparger stopped by. And of course, the new AD at Florida, both enjoying their new roles.
2nd down, 10 from the 4. Alabama trailing by 9, 2:19 to go. Complete to Stafford. Penalty. That was personal foul. You could see that Mulberry grabbed either the helmet, face mask, or some part of the headgear to slam the receiver down, and they'll tag this penalty onto the play.
Now, if it was a helmet, you can grab the helmet.
Ricky Mulberry called for the infraction. Face mask is what they call.
Yes, they did.
It's a 5-yard, meaning not flagrant. They move it out to the 19-yard line, gives Alabama the 1st down with 2:14 remaining. And Tim, I've got a question for you.
Good.
Does Florida, with a victory here today, and I know Alabama doesn't consider it over yet, move into the top 20 in the polls? It's probably over now at the 10-yard line with the clock at 2:01 and counting, and Alabama out of timeout.
I'm not sure. I think that people are going to, I think, sit back and see if this running game is for real. Alabama will vote that it's for real.
So does Florida move into the top 20? I think I put them in there. You know, they lose to Miami, and you saw Miami ranked in the top 5. They beat Tulsa big, and now a substantial win over Alabama, an upset win. Alabama was favored by 6. Alabama's a top 20 team, ranked up around the middle of the top 20, 12, 13, 14 in that area, depending on your poll.
But they hadn't been there before. I mean, they hadn't been in the top 20, actually, until they beat Penn State.
So you're voting no, is that it?
Whether Florida's going to be in there, I think by the end of the season they'll probably be in there. I'm not sure that they'll be in there this week. There's David Smith.
Very young appearance of the junior from Gadsden, Alabama. He's been replaced by Vince Sutton late in the ball game. Sutton, a little faster runner than David Smith, who took a pounding today running the football off the option. The Gators kept it in his hands instead of Bobby Humphrey. Here's Bobby Humphrey. Out of bounds at the 20. Clock down to 1:31. Mulberry chasing Humphrey out of bounds. So now Alabama gets a chance to pick up an SEC win. And I think, you know, LSU won it with a loss last year, won the SEC. So it's possible to go ahead and win with a loss. And Vanderbilt will be next on the Alabama schedule. Vanderbilt playing Duke this weekend, by the way. And then later in the season, Alabama still has a shot, but they're in that meat grinder with Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Notre Dame, Auburn, etc.
That's where I think folks in the South, teams in the Southeastern Conference are really at a disadvantage when it comes to the national picture because of the way the media rates the schedule. Doesn't mean anything if the team's good or not. And that's why Penn State can go year after year and not, you know, play 3 tough games a year, but then they got time to recover. They got time to get people healthy.
That was incomplete. Kerry Good was out of bounds. And with 1:26 to go, Alabama will turn the football over. Bill Curry suffering the agony of defeat. 23-14. Florida last played at Legion Field in 1931. So every 56 years, Florida comes in here and gets a victory, whether they're scheduled to or not.
Well, as I said before, the Florida coaching staff must really feel revitalized at this point.
Octavius Gould with the carry.
Because they've kind of resurrected their team's hopes for a good season.
And I think, despite the great game that Emmitt Smith had today, you have to give it at least a 50-50 credit to the Florida defense, and maybe even a little bit more, because they have shut down that man and a very good offensive line for Alabama.
And there aren't too many teams that have actually shut down Bobby Humphrey for over 1,400 yards last year and a great receiver. But they did an excellent job of containing him, hustling to the football, not letting him get the ball on the option of the quick screen, trying to take it out of his hands.
Kerwin Bell just took it to the knee there. Alabama out of timeouts. So since there's more than 25 seconds here, the Gators will have to put it in play one more time because it'll run down with about 6 seconds as they start the 25-second clock. And this ball game will be history. Kerwin Bell, not a Heisman candidate kind of performance today, but he did one thing. He led his team to a victory. 23-14, the Gators are back on track after losing big to Miami in the opener. They come into Legion Field and beat Alabama. And that'll be the last play of this game. The University of Florida Gators go 1-0 in the SEC. Alabama goes to 0-1. We'll be back right after this.
Balance. Sunday, the hotter it gets, the cooler he stays.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
They could lock him up, beat him, try to kill him, but they'll never break him. Paul Newman, Strother Martin, and George Kennedy in his Oscar-winning role.
Cool Hand Luke, the Award Theater presentation. 10:35 Eastern on the Superstation Sunday morning.
Florida upsets Alabama 23-14 at Legion Field. And today's Holiday Inn players of the game are Emmitt Smith of Florida. He'll probably be player of the week in the nation unless somebody has an incredible game that we're not expecting. 224 yards. That is a Florida record for rushing in a single game. 39 rushes. That also is a Florida record. He scored 2 touchdowns. And the defensive player of the game for the University of Florida, Jeff Roth. He had 2 sacks, 4 tackles, and led the way in that great Florida defense, stopping the Bobby Humphrey rushing game. So those 2 players led the way for the Gators here today, and Alabama now will have to regroup and go play at Vanderbilt next week. Here are the Alka-Seltzer final stats in the ball game. Total yards, Florida 363, Alabama 240. Turnovers, Florida once again having a problem there, but other than that, Florida had no problems today because of that man, Emmitt Smith, and a great offensive line for the Florida Gators with their 23-14 win today. The final score of this game from Legion Field in Birmingham. Today's SEC football game has been brought to you by Delta Airlines, serving more than 150 cities worldwide. Delta gets you there with care. And by Valvoline High-Performance Motor Oil. Valvoline, because motor oil is not just motor oil. And by Holiday Inns. If you're a winner, we're on your way.
And by Lawn Boy, America's long-running tradition. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Next week, our TBS Sports cameras will be at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee, for the 3rd-ranked Auburn Tigers and the 14th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers, both undefeated, 12:30 Eastern Time. Hope you'll join us. Yours truly and Tim Foley and our TBS Sports crew will be in Knoxville. The executive producer of TBS Sports is Don McGuire. Today's game has been produced by Skip Ellison, directed by Tom Smith. Associate producer Rodney Triplett, the associate director Gary Lehman, and the rest of the fine TBS crew. You've been watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.